Hello, everybody, and welcome to Grand Final Day of the Queensland League of Legends High School Championship Series, brought to you in part with the University of Queensland as well as Lenovo. My name is Max Formal von Neumann. Formal's not part of my real name. I just throw it in there to sound cool, and I'm even wearing a suit today. Joining me, Mitchell Replays Anderson. Also wearing a suit. Why? It's finals. I said that already. Pay attention. How are you doing today, Mitch?
I'm doing fantastic. It's great to be back, of course, in studio for our second time throughout this entire series, and it's a big game today, the very finals, to find who is the best team in Queensland who's going to go represent us at the National Championships down in Melbourne later this year. I mean, maybe not be in Melbourne in particular, given the fact that we have a global pandemic at the moment, but other than that, it's great. Good to see you've actually dusted off the suit for the first time this entire year. It's been a while. I've been the only one rocking the blazer, so it's good to be joined in this formal attire, but of course, Mr. Formal himself. But of course, before we get into this exciting matchup between Indooroopilly State High School and MacGregor State High, I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors, Legion by Lenovo. Legion by Lenovo is a stylish new gaming brand that embodies perfect play for everybody involved. They're loving supporting high school esports in 2020 and giving the opportunity to all young players to get involved. They love where high school esports is at, and it gives the opportunity for people to have a career on and off the field. They've got fantastic hardware that works anywhere. You can study on it, work on it, and use it, of course, in playing these fantastic high-resolution League of Legends series games. So a big thank you to Legion by Lenovo for helping us out with all our broadcasts, and of course, we're excited to partner with them for the rest of 2020. Of course, we have got more tournaments after this coming up, but again, Legion by Lenovo will always be with us. And of course, the main reason why we love Legion by Lenovo, we have our weekly competition that's run by all the players. Not as many entries this week, of course, only had 2 games, but we'd now like to present to you the Legion by Lenovo Savage Plays of the Week.
The Aphelios poke has been absolutely devastating for Nameshade. Splashing under tower, going for an 80 carry only. Will get hit with the Aqua Prism, but the Janna Monsoon keeps 80 carry alive. And MacGregor pulls off one of the craziest tower dives I have ever seen.
You are now watching the legend, so sit back and let the show begin. The pro is in, you know it's in, but to go and get me loaded in. And no offense, boy, the suckers ain't get close to no chance. I'm gonna win, my flow is so much doper than an opiate. Oh my lord, here we go again, it's going on and on, though. You can catch me up in that jungle, I'll be going ape like Congo. Hit them points like Pronto, wanna hit them up with that gun blow, that triple-double Lonzo, combo, ay. I'm a living legend, you ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons, yeah, I turn to a beast when I'm repping. Hey, I'm a living legend. You ain't heard yet, you not get the message. From the moment that I'm stepping in, I get a couple weapons.
Fantastic plays of the week, but we can only have one winner, of course. The Lenovo Savage Play of the Week is, of course, 80 carry only on the Aphelios and his fantastic dive down here with Doobie 10, of course. Both of them can decide who the winner of the Lenovo keyboard that is being presented to them for, of course, pulling off this fantastic play. Such an aggressive play and such a ballsy play to go for, especially for a bot lane play, only level 6 into the game. And that really, turned the tides there in that matchup, of course. Was, one of those games where it could have gone very nicely. We saw the rushed outside, of course, Jeans there on her famous Nami, who we saw just smash the semifinals the week before. Yeah. But just got completely outclassed there by 80 carry only in Doobie 10.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you even see Jeans in that replay nailed the Aqua Prism underneath the tower. You think that should be wham, bam, done, kill, stopped, we survive another day. But no, Janna flash forward, drops that Monsoon, and all of a sudden, it's a clean tower dive going the other way from MacGregor, by the way, who's going to be playing for this beautiful trophy right here.
Yeah, once again joined by the trophy on the desk. I didn't get that last night. If you didn't go through, we did do a stream of the 3rd place match last night, Hillbrook Hellcats taking out the 3rd best team in, of course, the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship. They were beat the Rochdale Rhinos, who of course lost to MacGregor in the previous week. So Hillbrook Hellcats looked very good, had 2 very dominating performances last night against the Rochdale Rhinos, and maybe could be unlucky to be on that side of the bracket. If they were maybe on the bottom side, they could be playing today against Indooroopilly. So if Indooroopilly win, there's definitely a big grudge match for Hillbrook versus MacGregor when we go into the Turn 3 tournament, of course. Stake the claim for be the 2nd best team in the state, but again, it looked very dominating. They destroyed Rochdale Rhinos. I think one of the kill scores in the game was 30 kills to 2, and the next game was a 23-minute just absolute stomp. So definitively the 3rd best team in the tournament. But let's introduce our teams for this grand final matchup today.
Yeah, let's take a look at our sides, starting with Indooroopilly. Again, they're coming off of that 2-0 victory over the third-place team, the Hillbrook Hellcats. And starting us off in that top lane will be chadyou, Pop the Smoke, rocking the jungle, lionroar in the mid lane. It's Sweets in AD carry, and The Last Dance on support. I believe with a name like that, I want to see Rakan today.
Yeah, I mean, I love that Xayah Rakan duo. It's Sweets and Last Dance have been a real key point here for Indooroopilly. I think their main strengths lie in that top lane and the AD carry. We saw It's Sweets take out the Lenovo Legion Player of the Week last week with a Yasuo pentakill that was set up beautifully by his entire team. I think Indooroopilly are such a well-rounded team so far. The one thing that is a little bit shadowing going into this match is Indooroopilly did actually lose to MacGregor in the Swiss bracket round. That was, of course, a couple rounds before the actual final, but they did beat the Mansfield Minotaurs, which did in turn beat MacGregor. So we kind of had that little four-way, everyone's beating everyone up the top there. And I mean, both these sides are very strong, of course, the top two sides. And I think last year we had Kelvin Grove State College versus, I can't remember, that's bad of me.
All I remember was Kelvin Grove just beat everybody.
Yeah. Kelvin Grove just 2-0'd that series, and they were by far the strongest team in the tournament. They didn't lose a single game except to Somerset in the quarterfinals. Which Indooroopilly have triumphed over. Again, a very strong school, of course. Somerset back. Callanvale, of course, were the other members of our last year's 2019 final. So a very strong team coming through. And I think this year we're going to see a lot more of a balanced final. And of course, if we don't know, today's actually going to be a best of 5 series. So the rest of the playoffs have all been best of 3. So you only require to win 2 games to take out the prize. But today, if either of these teams want to prove their best, they're going to have to do it definitively in the traditional way League of Legends is played. A best of 5 series requiring 3 wins to take
Absolutely.
it out.
I mean, it's the best way to secure we won't have yet another 2-0 final, right?
Yeah.
We just add one more game at the very least. It could possibly be a 3-0. Don't know yet, but either way, we have to take a look at the team that I am picking as the favorites for this matchup next. That, of course, is going to be MacGregor with VayZhao in that top lane, YeDieJiuWo in jungle, Mabøroshi in the mid lane, AD carry only on bot, and Doobie10 on support. Now, this team, I don't know, every time we've seen them on stream, they've absolutely dominated.
Yeah.
It feels like largely it's been through individual play. Top half of the map, perhaps the counter Indooroopilly's bot half of the map, but then again, we also saw AD carry only and Doobie10 kind of take that savage play of the week. So everyone on this team can step up. I don't know. This looks like the complete package to me, and I feel like they might be walking away 3-0 today.
MacGregor, definitely a strong side, but we've actually prepared a little bit of a video that the MacGregor players wanted to let you guys know about. So we'll take a look at that before we talk a little bit more about this side.
My summoner name is Mabøroshi. It means phantom or like illusion in Japanese, Mabøroshi. And I do feel like it kind of looks like my playstyle as well. I go to that tempo, I go to that roam. My playstyle is like, shining around the map. They don't know where I'm coming from.
I've done my team since I joined MacGregor.
A pretty long time, 5-6 years. In the Swiss system, we only lost 1 game, and in the playoffs, we haven't lost a single game yet. I'm pretty sure it's because of our aggressive playstyle as well.
The Aphelios poke has been absolutely devastating for Namejade. Splashing under tower, going for an AD carry only. Will get hit with the Aqua Prism, but then Janna Monsoon keeps AD carry alive. And MacGregor pulls off one of the craziest tower dives I have ever seen.
We do have a flexible playstyle that we can play through top, mid, or bot. We can play through depending on our opponent's playstyle.
So for some team that's like playing around bot, we might just give up bot and then play safe for bot lane and focus on the top and mid.
And MacGregor is going to advance to the Queensland League of Legends High School Series Final.
I do feel like that Indooroopilly is a very strong opponent. They have decent tempo ability, they have decent mechanics.
Their mid lane's Yasuo is pretty impressive. So we're not giving away Yasuo for sure.
All of our traditional sports teams have had to go on hiatus or take a break. So I think that's actually helped shine a bit of a light on our esports team.
Pretty proud to represent school, to compete with the other high schools.
I know some of the other students are quite jealous and have sort of jokingly said, I wish I played esports because then I could still compete.
It's fun to watch the games with my friends so that we can all cheer on the MacGregor team.
You know what? Seeing Mr. Forbes, I believe was his name. Like, yeah, he's got the beard I'm trying to get right now. I mean, it's a little more of that red tinge, but he's way ahead of me. I'm a little bit jealous of that one. Anyways, very exciting video package. Obviously, a very motivated MacGregor side.
Yeah.
They want to take this tournament. They feel they do deserve it. After all, they've been, as mentioned before, quite dominant. The one team that beat them got eliminated back in the quarterfinals in that sort of shock of an upset. And it feels like they have been on that warpath straight to this grand final right now. And as mentioned before, a lot of that comes from, I feel like, you know, the top half of the map play.
Yeah, I mean, we saw last week, of course, against Roachdale Rhinos, VayZhao played exceptionally well on his Mordekaiser and Fiora. Both games he you know, hard carry, but I mean, I think the player of the series I gave it to was Doobie10 in that bot lane there, the support 80 carry only, also had a fantastic game. And Mabøroshi and YeDieJiuWo are also phenomenal players. And I think MacGregor, this roster, the one thing I've noticed about them throughout this entire tournament is they're so good at punishing mistakes. And I think when it comes to playing League of Legends in particular, the biggest skill you kind of need, and the reason why challenger players are so good, is they punish every single misstep. Oh, you took a little bit too long to auto attack them and you didn't auto cancel. Oh, you're in the wrong position. I'm hit you with a skill shot now. They punish every little mistake, and that's why they've been so good in advancing through. They're not particularly the best teams in terms of macro play. They don't have the best mechanics overall. They're not bad. They're definitely, I would say, top 4 teams, of course, in the tournament when it comes to those aspects. But the one thing where they are completely a step above everybody else is the ability to punish. We saw last week against the Redeemers. They didn't get particularly far ahead in lane phase. In fact, Roachdale Rhinos were quite ahead through the early periods of the game. Even that highlight clip there, we saw Mabøroshi took down Heroic Feet in the mid lane. Heroic Feet was ahead. Yeah. He was a complete item up on Mabøroshi, but he just made a mistake. He went for a play, he flashed when he shouldn't have flashed, and that mistake got punished there by Mabøroshi. And the ability to know, oh, they've made a mistake here, let's capitalize. There was a couple times in the river where they mispositioned and MacGregor went, oh, they're here, let's go. They play these alternate styles. They play them, you know, Master in the jungle, Kindred in the jungle, Malphite mid, Akali mid, these champions that aren't particularly well played out. Even the Janna by Doobie10. I mean, it's fringe meta now, but it's not particularly, you know, oftenly played. And even the Fiora as well. They play these off kind of strategies, but they know their champions so well, and they're able to punish the mistakes their opponents make. However, on the other side of the bracket, Indooroopilly, a very, very strong side. Mechanically, they, I think, are the best team in the competition, pound for pound, against any other team. I think chadyou up on the top side has been the best top laner in the competition. I'm very interested to see how it goes against VayZhao, since VayZhao last week had a performance where you go, man, this guy's only gold? Like, really? Surely not. But again, Shirao, he was against Shirao, who has had some weaknesses exposed in the last few games, so maybe could have just been a specific matchup. But I think, again, it's going to be interesting to see those two do battle up on the top side. I think in the mid lane as well, very similar players in terms of, also very alternate play styles. Mabøroshi plays Akali, Aurelia, Malphite, these aggressive mid lane champions. Well, on the other side, lionroar plays the Syndra, the Ahri, loves playing his control mages, will play the Cassio, just wants to control that mid lane and help pop the Smoke, who plays, those very aggressive meta junglers, Rek'Sai, Graves, stuff like that. So it's two completely different styles from both these sides. The one thing I think is going to be really important too is this bot lane matchup. I think itSweets is one of the most interesting AD carry players in the entire competition. He's shown his competence to play champions like Xayah, Aphelios, Senna, of course, the meta AD carries, but he's also put out Yasuo's, Syndras in their bot lane. So a very flexible player. And I think that's something that Indooroopilly, if they draft well, can really pull their strengths around. And I'm going to expect a very long series here today between these two sides. I personally have Indooroopilly winning it 3-1. As I think Indooroopilly are good enough to not make those mistakes, and after multiple games, I've seen them very quickly reevaluate. I saw them in their best of 3 a couple weeks ago against.
We've been in the round of 16.
Round of 16. Yeah. The first game, they actually fell behind in the early game. They didn't get to 15. The 15-minute mark, they're about even. They still blew out the game and won it in 30 minutes. But they came around that next game, and the early game, they picked exactly the same comp, and they dominated. They were up 5,000 gold by 15 minutes, and they blew that game out in 22 minutes. So that ability to look back and go, okay, this is where we went wrong. Let's change it and go from here. I think Indooroopilly are going to win 3-1. I think either way it's going to be, I think it's going to be a 3-1. I think MacGregor is going to take the first game. That's my hot prediction. I think Indooroopilly are going to take 3 from there.
Well, I'm agreeing with you on MacGregor taking the first game, but here comes my big question, all right? And it has less to do with these two teams and more just taking a look at the history of this league as a whole. Because I feel like each of these teams, you put them up against KG4 last year, they go toe-to-toe, if not better than them. I think we've
they
seen an
do too.
improvement throughout the entirety of the league this year, and that's been super exciting to see. But what's more exciting than that are picks and bans, believe it or not. Picks and bans are wonderful and exciting, and who needs team fighting when it can just be pure strategy and psyching out your opponents and getting rid of probably, in my opinion, the most oppressive support in the game, Yuumi. None of that.
Yeah, I mean, especially since Doobie showed such competence on the Janna last week. A very similar champion, Yuumi, probably does the same things Janna does, just a little bit different. I think the use of the Janna ultimate, of course, by Doobie was impressive in this game, and getting him off these kind of supportive champions. It looks like they're, obviously, if they're focusing these bans towards the bot side, I think that Yasuo is also a ban focused towards its suites as well. So, of course, focusing away from the bot lane there, and you see, it looks like this game is going to be very heavily targeted at these bot lane duos.
Yeah, I do believe it will be, as we're seeing more bans coming through. The Aphelios is obviously going to be taken away from AD carry only. We saw what he could do on this champion. Graves, look, if your name is Pop the Smoke and you've been playing Graves throughout the tournament, come grand final time, you're probably not going to be popping any smoke grenades. So very targeted bans so far, but what I'm liking about these bans is they've also become meta, at least within this tournament. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. These teams have done their research. That much is very much apparent. And yep, getting rid of the Fiora as well from VayZhao. It's very smart bans at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, but there's so much game feel on both these seeds. We've got multiple hours of footage on MacGregor playing, on Indooroopilly playing, since we've seen these teams pop up so often throughout the tournament. Since this year, due to COVID, we had much more constrained broadcasting availability, so we could only broadcast kind of the top teams. And so we have so much footage on these two sides. I know Indooroopilly, we've got at least 6 or 7 hours of them to watch equally. The same with MacGregor, and Volibear login straight away. I love that from chadyou.
Volibear priority pick. That is very surprising to me. That is for sure. The Mordekaiser taking response a lot more conventional, I think. We were talking about Mordekaiser before and how hard he truly is to lane against. You always kind of have to wait for him to make a mistake. However, this new Volibear with the changes, it might be, you know, a bit harder, one might think, for VayZhao, and understanding this matchup and not knowing perhaps when you are making that mistake. A Vayne locked in as well. Indooroopilly, they are definitely breaking convention with this draft phase.
Yeah, I mean, the Vayne here is one of its suite's main picks throughout this tournament. I saw him pull it out against Somerset, of course, that series where Somerset had 2 challenger players and they lost to Indooroopilly. Its suite's got so fed off that bot lane and just completely carried. So he's on this Vayne very set up. Against the Morgana, I do have some worries. Morgana is extremely good into the Vayne, given the fact that the ultimate of the Morgana is obviously going to lock down Vayne anytime she gets into short range throughout these team fights. The Mordekaiser is a great pick into the Volibear too, because of course Volibear's biggest strength is his new ultimate, the ability to disable the turrets. However, with the Mordekaiser Death Realm, of course, it's going to be very difficult for them to actually create a 2v1 dive scenario if Mordekaiser can then isolate it. I also like, we've missed these picks, Ekko and Syndra. Syndra, of course, one of lionroar's main champions. He's a most comfort pick, and I think he's going to do quite well in it. But Ekko, a famous counter pick to Syndra. We saw it first and foremost in the Season 8 World Championships, where Jizuke put up the Ekko and took down the current World the current World Champions Gen G in that first round of the insane Worlds that series was. So it could be jungle Ekko too with YeDieJiuWo. Ekko has been so oppressive lately and hasn't been able to take down. The fact that he has that buff to his W, the parallel convergence, increasing the size of that means it's so much easier to land that stun. And he's been so strong for so long. And in this matchup, if it's taken mid against lionroar, the Syndra is going to have to be very, very careful.
Absolutely. That said, though, Syndra can play carefully against an Ekko if that is the case, although it's not looking to be. There's probably going to be a jungle Ekko if this Akali does get locked in. I'm not sure I entirely agree with that, because I'm with you. I do like the Ekko-Syndra matchup. I feel like that's when Ekko can start to roam quite easily, so you can get that, I don't know, same desired effect as you would with the jungle Ekko. As it stands, Akali will be the go, so going to be interesting to see Mabøroshi on the Akali in that mid lane. Soraka locked in with the Vayne. I'm not too keen on that combo, but the Zac does tie the team together nicely. I think that Zac could provide a bit of that engage, that support perhaps will be lacking, I should say, in this instance.
And Xayah, the final lock in too. Both these sides have got very interesting team compositions. I mean, they could even rel switch around, but it looks like they will not. That Xayah Morgana lane looks very oppressive, and the Soraka, especially when they got that Morgana already locked in, you got an Ekko locked in and an Akali locked in. Soraka's a very squishy champion. And if I think any of these Dark Binding land on that support in particular, she'll be going down very quickly. So a very risky pick here by The Last Dance on the Soraka. But I mean, if it pulls off, they've actually got quite a nice teamfight comp. Of course, Vayne and Syndra, very good for team fighting. Syndra provides that burst with the unleashed power. Vayne, of course, of course, the silver bullets, but I think there are actually some issues here in Indooroopilly's draft. And I think if I look at the compositions overall, I'm a big fan of MacGregor here. They do lack frontline, and they do lack clear engage. They don't have a go button, which is their kind of issues with their composition. But if they are able to catch out the Soraka or the Vayne in misposition, they've got 3 assassins there. Or sorry, 2 assassins and a Morgana to assist with the pick. So I think there's a lot of pick potential on MacGregor's side, and I think if Indooroopilly get behind, it's going to snowball out of control as long if they lose control of their jungle.
Yeah, not only that too, but the big issue I have with Indooroopilly's team fight as well is it's all single target. Damage. They don't have that area effect. They don't have that zone control in fights as well. Yes, you can send Zach in there, but even then, if MacGregor play correctly, they're only really going to be maybe able to pop, I don't know, Doobie 10 on the Morgana, who, if they have a Zonia, that's not going to do too much. MacGregor doesn't need a front to back. They can play sort of, bait, catch, pull out, and then boom, hit something with a wombo. They have so much more area of effect in these team fights. I am worried about Indooroopilly in that regard. It's going to make for a very interesting game, that is for certain. I'm with you. I like MacGregor's team comp a bit better. I think it's actually going to be easier to execute in this instance. Yes, they might not have, that front to back or that clear engage, but I also could see them having a much easier time spreading out the map as well, playing a 1-3-1 almost with the Akali, with the Mordekaiser. If each of them get ahead, Indooroopilly will never even have that ability to group up. And yeah, okay, you have single targets, but you're also coming up against a lot of assassins. So even in those matchups, if you push too far, you're going to get popped down if you're not paying attention to the map. MacGregor just needs a small lead, as you said before, and they might be able to run away with this game.
The one thing I do have the issue with is MacGregor's comp. If the assassins fall behind, even a little bit in lane, which I think if you had the Ekko mid, it'd be completely different. I think that is something they should have done, but obviously not in Mabøroshi's champion pool. We know his champion pool. Malphite, Akali, Aurelia. I haven't seen him play anything else outside of those 3 champions. A little bit of YeDieJiuWo, but again, I think YeDieJiuWo, this series, if it ever gets let through, it's going straight to Indooroopilly's side, given the fact that lionroar and its suites are so competent on that champion. I think the main key champion we're going to have to look towards here is its suites on this Vayne. If the Vayne gets ahead, it's going to be a completely different game. If Vayne gets ahead, is able to survive the initial burst from the assassins, I think Indooroopilly take these team fights because Zach and Volibear, the new Volibear, is so strong in team fights and it's able to stay alive for so long. So much healing in both those kits. Of course, Zach, a very tanky champion, one of the biggest tanks in the game outside of maybe the Sejuani or the Mundo, in terms of mass health pool. I mean, Cho'Gath, of course, health pool champions. But again, Zach, very, very tanky. And of course, it provides fantastic engage. So Indra are going to be able to pick a fight at any moment. And I really think MacGregor's comp isn't fantastic for counter engage. I think the Ekko here on YeDieJiuWo is going to be very key. I haven't seen him play anything that required, non-carry junglers. I mean, Ekko is a carry jungler, but Ekko really requires you to function in teamfights correctly. If you're landing really good parallel convergences and are able to lock down multiple members, and you've got to be looking for constant angles and ways to get into the fight and flanking them and landing that optimal W. I've only seen him play Master Yi, Kindred, and Xayah, I believe. And these champions are ones that you want to play back to front, you play back, you're not playing in this team fight to look for those sneaky angles, you're not trying to blow someone up, you're kind of the main carry that runs forward. So I think, obviously, he's proved to be a fantastic jungler, and I have every time I've seen him play, he's been one of the best in the game. But this is a very different play style for him. If he's not comfortable with it, if he hasn't been playing it a lot, there could be a potential issue there for MacGregor.
The other issue I actually have with YeDieJiuWo, though, and it does have a bit to do with his champion pool, I suppose, but he doesn't often have a very strong early game presence, I've found. He typically does get a bit more active around like the 8-9 minute mark when you start looking at those big fights. So he's been great in fights. He's been great playing around the team, but he hasn't been that proactive, I felt, in the past. And on Ekko, I do kind of feel like you have to be if you need to make things happen. So that's kind of where my concern with him on this champion actually comes from. I'm going to be very curious on his pathing if he does look to harass the Zach, because Zach, he's great. Do not get me wrong. I love some Zach, but his first few levels is a scary situation because you can get poked, you can get harassed. You probably won't die because you can escape quite easily, but you can't stick around for trades, so you can lose a lot of ground if you get invaded upon. I'm curious how Indooroopilly will react to that as well, because any sort of follow-up, it would probably come from the MacGregor side. I kind of like their early laning a bit better than I like Indooroopilly's, except for maybe in the top lane. But even then, I don't know. Pop the Smoke is going to have to be very cautious with his pathing, especially if YeDieJiuWo does what I believe he should do and start to invade.
I mean, I think they do have the superior mid lane. I think Syndra is going to be constantly pushing the Akali early on. Until Akali gets 6, doesn't really have any kill pressure. And Syndra is such a strong laner, especially on someone who knows how to play that champion so well. When it comes to YeDieJiuWo's early ganking, I have the same concern, right? But I think it also could be a champion pool issue where he's played Yi and Kindred, which aren't champions that are particularly well known for early ganking. Of course, it's going to be have to see in this game 1, and it's game 1 of a best of 5. So usually in the best of 3 series, the first game's a bit more experimental. This game's even more experimental because really, you still have to win. You still have to lose 2 more games after you fall to this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the game where if you want to try something different, if you want to go out of your comfort zone and try your Ekko jungle rather than your comfortable Kindred or Yi, this is the game to do it. Because if it goes bad, if he doesn't do anything until level 9, they lose the game. He's still got 2 games to make up for it, and there's potential to move around there. I can see Indooroopilly's comp though has gone for a very safe settle into the best of 5, because there are 2 kind of mentalities when you come into a longer series, since playing 5 games back to back is quite taxing mentally and physically, right? You don't have a break for food or drink, right? There's actually a big thing sitting down and playing a video game for 5 hours, and especially a game like League of Legends where it requires such intense thought process and cognitive ability. It gets very taxing, and for high school students who aren't particularly versed in working long hours, might not have jobs, might do shifts. I mean, now that get into the adult world, and you got to do 8-9 hour work days where you are focusing the whole time. You get a little bit more used to it. But these guys are only in high school, and getting attention for that amount of time can be very taxing. And obviously getting themselves more comfortable playing the Zac, the Syndra, having this comfort is definitely something that could help settle the nerves initially, because this is a big moment for these guys, and it is a lot of pressure. Weakened a little bit by the fact they're at home. They're not on stage live like they were last year, which is it's a big, scary circumstance if you're new to playing in front of people or doing anything like that. So very interesting to see how these sides go. But this is game 1 of the best of 5 to determine who is the best team in the entirety of this state. Good luck to both these sides.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big game.
Absolutely. As you can see, we are already on the Rift, and perhaps a little bit of nerves getting with both teams. Nothing too outrageous, no invades. Bit of a delay for Pop the Smoke to getting back to lane, but that is because I believe he dropped the ward and switched it for a sweeper, and it's not as if he's going to miss out too much. Junglers will be echoing each other in this one, as we see Ekko on screen, as they've each started bot side, so that could open the door for a cheeky invade, perhaps on the top half of the map coming from YeDieJiuWo. Other than that, pretty stock standard. I'm surprised by how far pushed up Mabøroshi might be getting in this lane, but as a whole, pretty much what we expected to see in terms of level 1 engagements.
Yeah, I mean, interesting to see both these junglers starting for the bot side clear. I think this top lane matchup is where you're going to influence it early on. I think this mid lane is going to be a lot more of Syndra pushing in the Akali, or there's definitely potential for ganks there with the Zac, but I think up in this top side, the Volibear Mordekaiser matchup is something that's popped up in LCS and pro games a fair bit as they just started up. The new Volibear is quite a good champion and gets quite tanky and provides a fair bit of gank assist, as well as Mordekaiser there early on pumping out chadyou.
I mean, maybe if you're not a level down, however, chadyou already just getting bullied out of lane by VayZhao, who is continuing also to see us very, very well in that top lane, near perfect, as well as winning that trade. And this is very similar to what we saw out of VayZhao in that semifinal.
Yeah, exactly. He played that Mordekaiser to great effect, was so strong in it. And I was surprised they didn't ban it away, obviously. Thinking the Yuumi was more of a threat rather than that champion. But, the other champions that everyone else performed very well on got banned away. A couple of them got let through, but lionroar here trying to take a trade with Mabøroshi.
Yeah, but awkward placement does lead to actually a good trade. That, last minute ball right there was able to connect with the Scout of the Week, but a Dark Binding onto the Last Dance actually means a very good favorable trade, I should say, for MacGregor right now. And MacGregor very eager to fight, it seems like, in all 3 lanes.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what kind of their brand of League of Legends they've played throughout this entire tournament. They've always been that more aggressive side, and India, who've been equally as aggressive and more focused on winning their lanes, are just kind of getting uncharacteristically beaten here in every lane down in CS. Obviously, heavy trades going across. I mean, you saw the worrying side when you have this Soraka in lane, very squishy, and early on it's a little bit more difficult for their champions to do too much, especially with something like a Zac jungle as well. But I mean, they are still faring very well. It's early on in the game, but maybe once Indooroopilly get a bit more comfortable, get a bit more ready to play, we could see it change around.
That said, chadyou has to start, getting those happy feet on right now, because every time we cut to the top lane, he's just getting pulled into losing trade after losing trade after losing trade. And again, when you have that Zac jungle he's not going to be too useful for a gank until at least after his first back, which he hasn't had time to do yet. Obviously, he's been going for that full clear, and maybe he could be looking for something now, but it's not going to be on the top half of the map. So a very early recall for chadyou, and that is a huge advantage going to the top side and going to MacGregor.
Yeah, and I mean, that is the thing, right? Indooroopilly do have the scaling comp. The later this game goes, the stronger they're going to become. The more these assassins fall off, and Zach and Volibear really come into their own right, as well as the Vayne, who's going to be able to shred through the entirety of MacGregor's side. So I think definitely it is a bit of a ticking time bomb here for MacGregor, but again, Indra have to be careful. They've elected for a lot of scaling. And that means they're not going to be effective until later, and so a lot of these early objectives could go the way of MacGregor. The early dragons, early soul is such a potent threat if you're unable to contest it. Yeah. And then that's that threat. If they get to 2 dragons, it's very close to threaten that soul throughout the game. And I do think Indooroopilly are going to have to go up the very first dragon at the least. It is spawning quite soon. Neither of these junglers are in a position to take it. But of course, the Zach needs time to get online, get at least his Cinderhulk in his inventory before he's going to do any ganking per se. And of course, the Vayne and Soraka is not the strongest lane versus the Morgana and the Xayah we're seeing down here in the bot side.
Absolutely not. And that first dragon being a Cloud Drake, I think plays it right into what MacGregor want at this stage, because they're going to want to accelerate the game. And what better way to do that than with accelerated ultimates on cooldown as well. So this is definitely going to be a point of contention. Now, again, worth noting, Pop the Smoke has not had a chance to recall yet. YeDieJiuWo already has and is on that bot half of the map with the dragon spawned. Yes, the Scuttlebug was secured by Indooroopilly, but should MacGregor make a play for it now, I feel like they would be able to secure it pretty much uncontested. That said, YeDieJiuWo actually might look to even punish bot lane a little bit more. At first has spotted that ward and actually has committed onto the dragon, it looks like. So MacGregor sort of reading the map, reading the situation, and playing accordingly. Oh, as the bot rotates up though, the elastic slingshot instantly hit on Yuumi, but as you can see, no damage there because again, Pop the Smoke has not had that chance to back, so this could be easily cleaned up by this MacGregor side. They're able to get on the int sweeps as well. He's going to have to escape, but First Blood has already been secured as the Zach Globlets do go down, and unfortunately for Indooroopilly, that will be a dragon going to MacGregor's way as well.
And that's a huge mistake there from Indooroopilly. Pop the Smoke trying to obviously catch them out on that rotation, but it's a Morgana and a Xayah. Those are not champions that are easy to take down. They're very, very strong in the early game. You knew that YeDieJiuWo was on the Drake there. The Scuttle Crab was popped. You were very well and truly aware he was there. You saw he had items if you pressed tab. Zach, sitting on a lot of gold, went back there and bought the jungle, what's that called? Stalker's Blade?
Yep.
Stalker's Blade and the Ruby Crystal, which is roughly over 1,000 gold. So he was sitting on quite a fair bit of gold. They picked up 2 control wards as well. And versus YeDieJiuWo had already gone back, had already picked up his items, now has got a Dark Harvest stack, so he started to utilize that passive and is going to get very strong. And initially 80 carry only, now look at the difference in items in this bot lane. Yeah,
absolutely. That was 100% a case where Indooroopilly should have just given up that dragon, as we were saying before, but it was a Cloud Drake. Indooroopilly, I think they saw that, recognized the danger of the situation, and thought maybe, we'd be able to sneak something here. Just did not go their way at all, unfortunately for them. Now, that item difference will change, I do believe, as soon as it sweeps is able to recall. However, it's still going to be in favor of 80 carry only in this situation. A pretty late reset as well. I'm going to be worried. Going to be a little bit worried, that is for sure, on this Indooroopilly side, and see where we go from here. Because bot side of the map is definitely no longer going their way. Top side of the map as well definitely seems to be going in favor of VayZhao. Finally, we get to see the happy feed from chadyou, and he's going to look to punish on that, but still a level down and unable to really get too much damage down on VayZhao, who is once again playing this Mordekaiser so well.
Yeah, it shows the competency on that champion. It shows that yesterday it was not a fluke with him playing so well. 66 CS, once again, the CS leader in the game. Almost perfect. See Vayne here picked up that Vampiric Scepter, so it looks like we'll be going for the Blade of the Ruined King Rush, not going for something like an IE Rage Blade item first up, so going to be definitely opting towards that more slow scaling route, but of course the Blade of the Ruined King means she'll be a little bit more effective a little bit earlier. In this mid lane, lionroar is now taking control of it, but Akali, once she gets that Hextech Gunblade, I think the strongest one item power spike in the entire game, and is going to be quite scary once you get that item completed.
Yuumi's Dark Bindings have just been direct missiles towards the Last Dance time and time again, even when not even aiming at the Last Dance. Last Dance just seemed to walk into that one. Very unfortunate, but something that definitely might come back to bite Indooroopilly should that trend actually continue in the bot lane right now. Obviously, the Vampiric Scepter is going to be used for a bit more of that sustain, so maybe the Last Dance won't be as reliant on healing, you know, sacrificing their own health. But I can see a situation where if the last dance is already low, gets hit by that Dark Binding, we might see an all-in with ultimates now available for this MacGregor side.
Yeah, especially since, you know, we know they're not afraid to dive. They dived last week on that Aphelios, but Xayah even more effective at landing that under tower kills with, of course, her ultimate, the Feather Storm, making her invulnerable when she pops it. So Easy can drop the aggro, tank it up straight away. The Morgana can, of course, take it as well, quite tanky on her champion.
Oh, Elastic Slingshot did not connect, and the Eye of the Herald has already been secured. Mabøroshi able to roam up as well, pop the smoke. Not going to be able to flash out at that one, and once again, Zach picking an unfavorable time to engage will go down, and chadyou might be punished for his jungler sins, because here comes the parallel convergence, has to flash out the stun, but still might get chased down. That last tower shot, not enough to secure the kill back, so MacGregor pulling further ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this is huge here for MacGregor. 3-0 already in this game. A 3,000 gold lead at the 10-minute mark is not good at all. And this Zach here from Pop the Smoke has not looked very good whatsoever. He, you know, has been quite a good jungler in all the games I've seen him, but has been playing those more aggressive early game style junglers, and something on a Zach that requires you to scale and relax. You shouldn't be taking fights like that. You know, of course, it was good to see that punish, and maybe if you're playing something like a Lee Sin or a Rek'Sai, the punish that the, you know, around the dragon there would have worked for the Indooroopilly side. But on the Zach, he just doesn't look comfortable, doesn't realize, you know, kind of how weak the champion is early on, and as a result, he's given a lot of kills over to YeDieJiuWo, and he is set up to have a big game against Ekko.
Another Dark Binding gets last dance very, very low. Wish is still available, but you also have Pop the Smoke waiting around just in case we see that tower dive. We know MacGregor likes to do it. It's sweet. Trying to bait himself. Once again, the Elastic Slingshot not going to connect, and the Feather Storm is used to avoid the batting around, which used to give its Sweets a bit more health, but he is not willing to chase through Doobie's ult, who uses it to peel AD carry only away. That was a lot of critical abilities used. It wasn't the Wish. I take that back. I digress, however. MacGregor survived the game.
Yeah, MacGregor is surviving that gank down. A lot of cooldowns used. The Zach ultimate went down. It's Sweets, you had to use her heal as well, his heal, sorry, as well. The final hour was popped there from the Vayne, but no flashes out of the enemy team, which is, you know, when you go for a gank like that and you blow everything, you want to at least get a flash, but got nothing of the sort. Mabøroshi poking lionroar under tower. Of course, got those double buffs. That's really not good, and that's, you know, another benefit of Pop the Smoke going down. Gives those double buff over. That's one of the worst things as a mid laner, especially when you're doing well in lane or you're in a tough matchup. That double buff just swings that lane so heavily. Its first top lane tower has gone down already as well. This is looking very dominant once again. The top lane, VayZhao up here, destroying Indooroopilly. And they said in their little video before too, you know, if they're going to play towards one side of the map, bot or top, they can play through every single lane. And they're winning on both sides of the map. You know, I think they definitely wanted to give up. I mean, both these top and bot lanes are very aggressive and positive lanes, and I think that's an issue of Indooroopilly going for a little bit too much scaling. And again, I just think with these leads so far ahead, you know, when you're pushing onto these towers, you're 30 CS up. Hasn't got any kills on the Mordekaiser, but the Andrew's Torment completed already means this Mordekaiser is going to be hitting his one item power spike, as well as the Akali, who's looking towards that Hextech Gunblade. MacGregor looking very strong. 2 dragons now completed, and the early Soul Wing condition, especially with Mountain Dragon, could be devastating for Indooroopilly.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, speaking of devastating, AD carry only finally gets that kill on the last dance after a great Dark Binding from Doobie 10. I was saying it would only be a matter of time before that comes through, and again, these side lane leads are just starting to accelerate quicker and quicker right now for MacGregor, and it feels like, you know, that ticking time clock for Indooroopilly is just getting pushed further and further back. Now, we did mention at the start of this all, Indooroopilly, one of their strengths is their adaptability. Well, that's going to be put to the test if they want to take this game number 1. Or they can look, you know, maybe to the future. It's game 2 and 3. That maybe could be where it starts to come more into play. But for right now, Indooroopilly, they are very much on that back foot.
But the one thing I would like to see that is, you know, a bit of a shining light here for Indooroopilly is the mid lane and the bot lane. It's Sweets and lionroar, the 2 main carries for the team, are still doing decently well. I mean, lionroar kind of fell behind since Mabøroshi got those double buffs, and now has a level lead because of the early kills, so has kind of thrown that lane a little bit one way, but he's still looking good. Vayne, It's Sweets, playing very aggressively, is looking like the best player in the bot lane despite being 0-0-0, and of course AD carry only being the most fed. I think mechanically he's looked quite apt. And I think, honestly, the biggest difference in that bot lane is the support. Last Dance doesn't look very comfortable in this Soraka. Isn't being able to dodge away from the morb buyings. I think that's a bit of an issue. But It's Sweets and lionroar are still looking really good. And as long as those 2 carries continue to play well, it could be definitely a way back from
Off
back
the
to
smoke, though, again, we'll miss with the Elastic Slingshot. Doobie is forced to go golden. That leaves AD carry on their own. But with the Featherstorm. Sweets has to flash to get out of that bind. Teleport coming through, but it could be too little too late. Pop the smoke, stuck under tower. Teleport under tower as well. That's coming from VayZhao, who will return to this fight and is going to pull Lion's Roar back into it. Unleash power, it's not going to connect on anyone. And on the back end, YeDieJiuWo stopping Pop the Smoke from escaping. Underneath the tower we go. People falling left, right, and center from this Indooroopilly side. A double kill for Mabøroshi. YeDieJiuWo secures the last one. That was a teleport. What are you thinking, chadyou? Fortunately able to get out of that, but
I think he tried to save that.
he tried. That felt very ambitious against 5 members strong of MacGregor. The bot tower falls as well, and this game has just been blown completely open.
Yeah, I'd say this game is now firmly MacGregor's to lose. They are so far ahead now. 7,000 gold there already accrued in the lead. 8-0 the kill score. The next dragon is spawning in the next 2 minutes. Honestly, I think MacGregor's going to grab this this Mountain Soul straight away, and I just don't think this Indra carry is going to get online fast enough to shut him down.
Yeah, absolutely. But Dragon Soul, that's still about 10 minutes away. I think that next big objective will be that next Rift Herald, and I don't see any way Indooroopilly can contest it. I'm very curious how MacGregor actually plays these next 5 minutes, because with that next Herald, assuming they do get it, they could pop the base open actually quite quickly, and I'm a little worried they might do it too quickly. It's a mistake we've seen from them, I believe, in the past as well, and that can open an avenue back for Indooroopilly. I do want to see him slow down just a little bit, just until Baron comes up. Get Baron, get the soul, and that game kind of at around that 25-minute mark, I think is what they should be aiming for. That said, though, if they can find a way to end the game before then, by all means, you do that. You crush your opponents. It's all about crushing, right? So we'll see how this goes. As expected, they have started up that next Rift Herald. As you can already see, YeDieJiuWo and AD carry only there. So they are going to be looking to accelerate the pace of this game even more so at this stage. And Indooroopilly, they are very much struggling to find a way back in this.
Yeah, Indra, again, the main way to go back into this game, they've just picked a lot of scaling. They've picked way too much scaling, and you know, the early game from these assassins has been a little bit too strong there. That was such a fantastically well-organized dive. You see Sweet's just getting destroyed by Mabøroshi. Has now completed his Hextech Gunblade, that really core item Akali needs. YeDieJiuWo, very strong on Ekko too, has got the 2 items completed on the Ekko in the jungle, the Proto Belt, that item. And this is the worst thing about playing with Syndra when you're falling behind. She really struggles to perform in a side lane. Syndra is one of the worst side lane champions, and just is so susceptible to anything in this lane. You see VayZhao, even though she's getting poked out, lionroar is just so susceptible. If he gets pulled in one time by the Deathclaw, I don't know what it's called, the pull there from the Mordekaiser, it's going to be so difficult for her to get out of that without expending the flash. And once that flash goes down, the next time anybody is around Mabøroshi, so they're roaming down, it could easily punish her for that mistake.
Absolutely, and you are starting to see MacGregor definitely look for those punishes as well. They're starting to get those deep rewards. They're trying to get those pickouts, especially with the dragon available. They're just making sure Indooroopilly goes nowhere near this first Mountain Drake. The 3rd dragon of the game will be secured by this MacGregor side, and with that, they will be looking to, I believe, just accelerate the tempo of this game for them. Again, VayZhao looking for those grabs on Sweets. Not going to get, but the Dark Binding will connect. And AD carry only is already there. Not a chance for Sweets to escape. And another pick for this MacGregor side.
Yeah, I mean, the Ignite as well there coming out of DB10 at the first moment he got hit to deny the healing from the Wish there. Secured that kill. Sweets, the first misstep I've seen him have this entire game, got taken down there instantly. Very squishy on that short range vein. 9 kills now to MacGregor, and I'd almost say it's time for Indra to start looking towards game 2.
Yeah, that could be very much the case in this one. Nearly a 10K differential at that 20-minute mark. MacGregor just running away with game number 1, setting a very aggressive tone and tempo for this series. Indooroopilly, it could be time to hit that drawing board. I would like to see them get at least 1 or 2 kills, you know, before this game ends. You don't want to get that big goose egg at the end of everything, but unless MacGregor start making grave missteps at this point moving forward, I don't see an avenue for Indooroopilly to get back into this game just because of how scaling their team comp is. And again, we don't even have a single completed item yet on lionroar, just 1 item really on Sweets at this stage, and it's a Blade of the Ruin King. That's not going to do too much in a team fight when you are this far behind. Indooroopilly, they're just struggling right now.
Yeah, exactly. They are really falling behind. And honestly, for Indooroopilly, I can't even see anyone they can look to take down. Everyone in MacGregor lineup is so hard to take down. Of course, VayZhao is tanky, of course, on this Mordekaiser. Going to be very hard to take down. Ekko, of course, has the chrono shift or chrono break, sorry, to get pseudo Zhonya's there. The Zhonya's is completed on the Morgana, and I don't see a situation where Morgana is going to be isolated. I think Doobie's been playing very well. Of course, Featherstorm as well on AD carry only, and Mabøroshi on this Akali, a very flexible champion who can drive around quite a bit. I think Akali is maybe the only one you could see him pick up a kill on if she, is extended a little bit too far in the side lanes. But again, the rest of the team from MacGregor, everyone is so fed. It's not like all the gold is on one carry like it is in most games you see. Usually it's like just the top jungler, 5k ahead of their opponents. But the entire team is, if you press X here, you're going to see the gold differences between all these sides, and it'll be 1 or 2k in every single lane, which adds up to this total difference. And that's so huge when you're assessing these two teams. There's no way I think that Indooroopilly can scale up unless MacGregor kind of just go into a lull. And if they get this Baron and don't do a lot with it, or if the Baron's stolen away, it's going to be really, really difficult for Indooroopilly to do anything.
And I think Indooroopilly, aware of this Baron situation right now, they are opting to reset at this stage and maybe try to contest it. But that reset could be coming a little bit too late, as MacGregor, they're going for that 20-minuter right now. All of the red side are converging onto this Baron as we speak, starting to whack away at it, and it's not going to be the quickest take in the world, but with Mabøroshi kind of scouting out the jungle with how lit up it actually is, there's no way for Indooroopilly to sort of approach it without getting spotted, and Mabøroshi can easily go for a 1v1, but he can't go this deep for it. All right, Mabøroshi, I see what you're trying to do. The Unleashed Power does absolutely nothing to the Akali, and the Baron is secured. No pick taken, but that's okay. MacGregor got their eyes on that larger prize.
Yeah, with the Baron going over, Mountain Drake spawning in a minute and a half, I'd have to say this game one is practically over here for MacGregor. I think the only way Indra could have maybe gone back to the game was a Dragon Steal. Baron Steal, because that Baron would have allowed him to stall out the game for long enough and get this Vayne a bit of farm. But now that it's gone over to MacGregor and they're going to grab the Mountain Soul, because there's no way that Pop the Smoke's going to contest. So even if he does contest, he's going to die for that Dragon. If the Soul doesn't go over, he's going to be dead. Baron's still going to be active on all 5 MacGregor members, and then they're just going to walk through the base 4v5. So it's very dire heavy Indooroopilly. I think their issue was playing too safe. I think they picked champions that weren't ready to scale. But we know, of course, this is not over, right? They play Yasuo, they play these aggressive early game champions. chadyou loves his Sett up in the top side, one of the most Chad champions in the game, kind of a bit synergistic up in their name. Pop the Smoke plays the Graves, Rek'Sai, aggressive champions. I think go back to the drawing board for game 2, pick something aggressive. I think the Zac here is the biggest issue for me on Pop the Smoke. I think if you have to pinpoint the game to 1 or 2 champions, I think Soraka and Zac are the biggest question marks here. Don't play Soraka. Last Dance looked really, really bad on that pick, and has kind of been the reason why Itsweets, who I think was the best player in that bot lane, didn't get ahead. I think Itsweets is a key carrier for Indooroopilly. If he's not facilitated correctly, that's where the team kind of starts to fall down. I mean, it's obviously not over yet. We've probably still got another, I'd say, 4 or 5 minutes of play. But with this Mountain Soul, MacGregor team's going to be so tanky, and Vayne doesn't have the items to shred through them.
Yeah, I think that further on your point, it's not necessarily the fact that Indooroopilly played too passive. They picked too passive, and then they played too aggressive. Going back to those first couple skirmishes that went against them was Pop the Smoke being the initiator, not reading the situation. Dragon Soul secured for MacGregor. So yeah, I want to see them, if they're going to play aggressive, if they're going to look for these early skirmishes, pick a team around that. Play to your strengths. I also have a small problem with you saying Itsweets was the best player in that bot lane, where I've only seen Doobie miss 1 dark binding the entire time. So I'm going to have to show Doobie some love, and not to mention how the AD carry is playing. I digress. Dragon Soul secured, Baron buff activated. Here comes MacGregor straight down the middle, looking to pop the base open for this game number 1. And there is not too much Indooroopilly can do to stop him at this stage. That cannon wailing away. You have more than enough at the front line with VayZhao. If anyone dies, you know they're going to their death realm, and that's not going to be a fun place to be. Parallel convergence, zoning everyone away from Indooroopilly, away from the tower. Nice condemn into the wall, but that may have opened the floodgates, as Mabøroshi is going so deep. Up above, lionroar has been caught out, forced to go golden, but will immediately bop as he returns. Mabøroshi trying to do what he can, does pop the Zac concept as VayZhao is able to find Itsweets, and that should do it for game number 1. No one's able to escape whatsoever. No one dies on the MacGregor side, as it is a clean ace, and MacGregor are going to walk their way to a game 1 victory.
Yeah, I mean, this is so scary as well for Indooroopilly. A perfect game for game 1 out of 5 here for MacGregor. I mean, as you said before, the issues weren't so much the picks themselves. The play style themselves. I mean, Indooroopilly. It was a combination of the picks and the playstyle. Didn't synergize so fantastically. The Nexus now explodes MacGregor 14-0. Didn't concede a single kill, a single tower. I don't even think they conceded a turret plating that game.
There was one in bot.
One in bot. So not. I mean, I don't know. Do we still count a perfect game as no towers, or?
I personally do. I would call that a perfect game.
I would call it a perfect game. But there's I guess it's still a perfect game even if you do lose tower plates. But if you don't lose any tower plates, it's that extra step of extra clean and extra perfect there from MacGregor. But man, game one looked very dominating. That is very scary for the Indooroopilly side. But I don't have any hope less. Indooroopilly have shown a versatility of play styles. I think that was a bit of nerves coming into game one. They looked very nervous, of course, going for those kind of plays that are a bit silly. The plays that you go, really, this is the team in the finals? You know what I mean? Yeah. But again, of course, no disrespect, man. I think it's just a bit of nerves. It's a very abrasive side. You know, getting this far in the tournament is very important.
I think you're absolutely right. And there's something I want to clarify as well. When people say, oh, nerves, the default thinking was like nerves make you play more passive. They make you play more scared. And that's not always necessarily true.
Of course not, yeah.
Nerves affect your decision making. And that could mean getting aggressive when you shouldn't be or playing passive when you shouldn't be. Like those little things, like thinking I must do something. I have to be that player. And I think that's what was happening with like Pop Smoke in that one on that jungle Zac. Like he was feeling pressure to make plays despite not being able to correctly read the situation. I haven't recalled. Their jungler has. They have that lane priority. We can't contest this dragon. We're going to have to let it go. We don't need it really for our win con. Things like that. And those are actually fairly simple mistakes to play. That just takes, let's bring it back a bit. Let's understand our team composition. Yeah. If we go scaling again, play a bit more reserved, play a bit more smarter. Or if we're feeling aggressive, if the nerves are making us want to fight, let's pick that early game fighting.
Yeah, let's get the Pantheon, let's get the Wukong, let's play aggressive and let's go. Exactly. I think one of the key mindsets for Indooroopilly going into this next game is make sure to settle, because you can start getting on tilt, especially when you get beaten that handedly. You can start going, man, I don't know what to do. You can start blaming each other. Oh, you got hit by too many bindings lane, or you went too aggressively, you entered my lane to double buffs. Make sure you need to reset, keep it calm. We'll be back in about 3 minutes for game 2 of the Queensland High School League of Legends Championship Final.
21st, we were here. And when 0 seconds started, it took, what was that, 2 seconds? Not good enough, because as we've seen in League of Legends, 2 seconds, well, those small hesitance in decision-making can cost you big, can cost you perfect games. Either way, game 1 is in the books. MacGregor is up 1-0 over Indooroopilly after what was a very dominating performance, but the good times do keep rolling on. We're switching the sides. MacGregor's in blue, Indooroopilly's in red, and YeDieJiuWo still not allowed.
Yeah, YeDieJiuWo is definitely not getting through, I don't think, any game in this series. I think maybe if they're 2-0 up MacGregor, maybe he might let it through to make it a bit more competitive, a bit more interesting, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Mordekaiser needs to be banned out this game. VayZhao looked way too good, and I think Volibear was not a good pick either. I think they need to play more aggressive. Obviously, they're very nervous, they're a bit scared that Morgana take it off table. Doobie looked real dominating on that pick. And I like that ban from Indooroopilly.
Okay, but here's what actually kind of scares me right now. Morgana, yes, that Dark Binding, very effective. There's a lot of supports with projectiles that can catch out a support that has misstepped, and that was the big issue for the Last Dance. He was sort of walking into these. So yeah, you have Morgana, Blitzcrank, Nautilus, Thresh, all of these are sort of these hook pick-based supports, and they're all going to be available right now. So I'm actually not sure I agree with that Morgana ban in this instance.
Yeah, I mean, I think Morgana, though, is probably one of the premier supports. Outside of those, I mean, obviously, the meta right now, when you look at pro play, is stuff like the Nautilus, Leona, those hard engaged supports. But I think Morgana is probably one of the best, at least for this level of play. She's so good. She has pick, you know, the Thresh and those aggressive plays often. She has fantastic protection in the Black Shield. She has decent wave clear, wave management in her Tormented Soil, and her ultimate's so impactful as a great form of counter engagement. She has such good peel for your AD carry, especially at this level of play where AD carries aren't playing perfectly, they aren't positioning perfectly. There is big windows of opportunity for them to get caught out and be able to pop that R and sort it out. It's so effective, and they didn't ban out the Aphelios, they swapped the Morgana ban out for it. The Aurelia got banned away too, and Aphelios on AD carry only. He looked so dominating on that yesterday, and man, this could be another game going towards that side with that Aphelios carry.
I mean, Syndra's going to get instantly locked in as well for lionroar, who, to be fair, and for Indooroopilly's credit, lionroar during lane phase on the Syndra was absolutely fine in handling that Akali. It was actually when Mabøroshi was able to roam around and sort of get picks in the other lanes that the Syndra started to fall behind. So I'm not surprised to see Indooroopilly return to that, and I'm loving the Thresh lock-in. Thresh, one of the best all-around supports. Actually kind of similar to that Morgana, and they're sort of like that jack-of-all-trades, can do quite a lot. So I'm very happy to see that get locked in. However, the Mordekaiser still available, and poor chadyou is thinking right now, oh no, not again.
Yeah, I hate having to go back-to-back against that Mordekaiser for chadyou there. However, there are a lot of things you can take into Mord. They're kind of, I think chadyou, as much as he's an aggressive player and he plays those bruiser champions, the Sett, the volleyball we saw last game, I honestly think something like a Maokai or an Ornn up in this top side could be so effective. And to play around Itsweets, because I think Itsweets looked really, really good last game. I think he was the best looking player on Indro. I think lionroar looked very good, but lionroar was very similar, like as in he was just very controlling. I don't like the Vayne again, even though Itsweets look really good in it. I think into Aphelios is going to have a really hard time. And again, into Mordekaiser Ekko, Vayne, if you don't get rolling in the early game, it could be very difficult. This time ago, last dance is an aggressive support. So I think the two main issues I thought were the Soraka and the Zac. I think you need to have pop the smoke on an aggressive jungler. I think he does not do well on something that needs to scale and takes time. You saw him go for these early plays, which were really aggressive, and obviously that's his play style. So opt into that, pick something that helps him work. Rek'Sai, Lee Sin, even Sejuani that got banned, they're all fantastic picks.
I agree with you, and I want to double down. I actually don't want to see a weak side, top side coming from chadyou. I want to see the Renekton.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see more aggression. I actually want to see Indooroopilly play to this brawling fighting style. And I mean, it would be hypocritical of me to say, yeah, you know, Mordekaiser can beat everything. I've seen Renektons absolutely destroy Mordekaisers in lane. And then again, go with that aggressive jungler. Go for that Lee Sin, that Rek'Sai, and actually try and make the top lane that weak side lane, because I am so against that Vayne pick into Aphelios. I think just the amount of range that the Aphelios has over the Vayne, they're going to struggle, and unless the Last Dance is going to be able to hit some amazing death sentences, they're definitely going to struggle on the bot side of the map. So play to a top side, strong side right now. Go something that can, you know, definitely punish this Mordekaiser. I want to see a Renekton pick right here, and then I want to see a very aggressive jungler, like you said, the Lee Sin or the Rek'Sai, and I want to see Indooroopilly really take that fight to the top hand. Sett, it can work, but you have to play that lane very, very well.
Could be Sett jungle too, right? Could be flexed around. I think You look at the jungle bans. There are 4 jungle bans on MacGregor's side. They're targeting Pop the Smoke's champion pool. Well, I mean, Wukong's a bit of a flex ban. Could be top, could be mid, could be jungle. But definitely Olaf, Sejuani, and... oh, interesting. Anyways, Olaf, Sejuani, and Graves, they're very heavily targeted towards that jungle role, and there aren't many aggressive junglers left outside of Lee Sin and Rek'Sai. Don't know if they're in his wheelhouse though. Don't know if he can play them effectively. I was going to say Olaf is the champion I want to see him pull out because it's such a dominating pick, but obviously got taken away. And oh, okay, I don't mind that.
I don't mind it, but
It's
it
not
does
great,
mean
but I
Sett's
don't
going
mind it.
top. But however, I don't really know where the Mordekaiser is going now. So this whole pick and ban thing has kind of been flipped around. It does look like, yeah, okay, VayZhao will be taking the Mordekaiser. It will be Mabøroshi on the Aatrox, which is new for him. We have yet to see him on the
He
champion.
played it against Hillbrook.
Well, it's new
Back in regular
for-
season. We casted the game.
We did. Yes. Look, okay, it's been a long season.
maybe he did. Maybe it was a highlight reel I saw him play. I've seen. I know he plays a lot of
know.
Aatrox. Aatrox is definitely well and truly a champion
right.
he plays quite a bit of. I forgot about Aatrox mid though too, right? Not Aatrox top. So Aatrox mid is again that bit of off meta style. Into the Syndra, I don't like it though. I think Syndra's going to really dominate this Aatrox in lane because lionroar is so good on this Syndra, and I think Aatrox. I mean, obviously he can land a couple Qs, but the Syndra looked quite good against that Akali, which is quite threatening. And I think as long as she can survive the early game from the Aatrox, she's going to be looking really strong into him.
Something that I'm going to find interesting in this game as well, however, was YeDieJiuWo last game. Again, he didn't actually answer my doubts about him being a proactive jungler. He was still able to play reactively and kind of counter gank every single time Pop the Smoke went for that engage with the Zac. He was there, so his tracking was phenomenal, but he wasn't playing proactive. Against Fiddlesticks, a similar situation where I feel like he has that opening to be a bit proactive, and I want to see that again a little bit more this time around because MacGregor, I feel they have a smaller window if they want to take control of the early game. I do feel Indooroopilly can be a bit more brawly, a bit more successful in that mid game. I sort of like that. Again, the Vayne pick has me a little bit concerned, but as a whole, Indooroopilly, I think they're less reliant on that later scale, which means I do want to see more proactive play coming from YeDieJiuWo.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be the main carry for MacGregor in these team fights. You look at this comp again from MacGregor, doesn't have a lot of engage. There's nowhere to start fights. It worked last game because they got so far ahead. They were then able to force fights because they could just pretty much walk at them and win. But YeDieJiuWo needs to land some good parallel convergence. He did all right. He was a decent form of engage. But again, in a game like that where you get so far ahead and you're so dominating, it's very hard to actually judge how good these champions were. I think he did actually answer some of my concerns when it came to the early game. He got his initial lead from Pop the Smoke kind of going in on a bit of over-aggressive plays. However, he initiated that 4-man dive bot, which I think was the really play that kind of turned that game around. That dive where they picked up 3 or 4 kills, I believe. All 5 members down there actually had a fantastic dive. I think that was the key play of the game. That was the highlight. That was the one that really turned it around. Then if that doesn't happen again for Indooroopilly, I could see the game going very differently. But yeah, as you said, you went for that dive topside too. So it's potential. I mean, Ekko is up where they're the least, and Pantheon is the best divers in the game.
Absolutely.
So of course has that same utility. And yeah, he does play a little bit more reactively, but of course that's due to his initial champion pool. But Ekko 2 games in a row, I think it could be something that Indooroopilly could look to get rid of because if they don't have that go button, their comp's looking a little bit different.
There is one big problem I have with Ekko, though, and it has absolutely nothing to do with this team comp right now, but with his ultimate, Chrono Break, right?
Yep.
I believe Ekko's ultimate and Zillion's ultimate's names need to switch, okay? Because Ekko shifts back in time, Zillion breaks time by coming back to life.
I don't know, because I think the whole thing is his thing break, the Z drive that Ekko has. I think it's called a Z drive.
Yeah.
I'm getting confused with Pokemon. I don't know. But I've been playing so much Sword and Shield lately.
Ekko would be a Pokemon trainer. Out of all the champions in League of Legends, Ekko is 100% the Pokemon protagonist.
Or Heimerdinger.
Heimerdinger's a gym leader.
But he has pets.
He's a gym leader.
Yeah, fair
He's
enough.
like
He's the old man. He's like Price.
Yeah,
sitting there in
exactly.
his 7th gym with water types, even though it's an ice gym. I hate that. Anyways, League of Legends is the game we're casting here today. But yeah,
who's Gary? If Ekko is Ash, who is Gary?
Ezreal?
Oh no! No, Ezreal is like Wally from Gen 3. Okay.
No, Ezreal's so cocky, and he's like, if you look at the lore, he's the cocky explorer.
Jace.
Nah, because Jace is like a goody two shoes.
He's also too old. Chase is not a goody-goody two-shows. Victor was right all along. I stand by that.
Yeah,
Sorry for the distraction, everybody. We're going.
At least this one's a little bit more League of Legends related than the last one. Okay, here's the thing. Of all the League of Legends champions, which one would be the best Pokemon?
Rammus?
You reckon? But, I mean, like, if they were a Pokemon,
Yeah.
I think Thresh. Thresh would be a sick ghost type.
Actually, Thresh would be pretty cool.
Like, Thresh could be a Pokemon.
I don't know. Rammus is a Pokemon.
I mean, Rammus is he's a little turtle that rolls, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
I
like Rek'Sai, or like... Rek'Sai's a Pokemon, basically.
Gnar has a Mega Evolution.
Yeah, Gnar has a Mega Evolution. Has a Dynamax form. Oh, God. It's only game 2. What happens if this goes to all 5? And hopefully it does with Indooroopilly. Looking to take down MacGregor. I do like this comp again. It's much better here from Indro. Fiddlesticks is going to be a big, impactful ultimate. They don't have as much tankiness. But I think the meta actually at the moment isn't so much about you don't need that tank. I think the traditional 2 carries, 3 frontline isn't the comp that you want to play anymore. I think whenever we've seen that inexperience in this tournament or even in pro play these days, you want to play carries in all lanes. The top lane meta is Mordekaiser, Wukong, Sett, these aggressive brawler, bruiser champions that, you know, are not the traditional Maokai Cho'Gath that we're used to seeing. If you look back, you know, in the history of League of Legends, it's not AD carry focused anymore. It's not, oh, we need to make sure Jinx or Vayne or Caitlyn or Tristana is really strong. We're now going to play towards mid jungle. We're going to aggressive fight early on. The games get decided before the 20-minute mark. But I think Indooroopilly's comp is much better this game.
You know what I find interesting about that? Because I agree with you. When you look at the global meta as a whole, absolutely, it does feel like AD carries aren't in the strongest place. When you look at OCE, and in particular the amateur scene, AD carries are super important. I don't know what it is about our region, but we still love our AD carries right here. And I've seen them to absolutely take over games. And my argument would be, if we take a look back to game number 1 in this one, AD carry only actually had a outstanding performance from start to finish. So I don't know. I feel like AD carries can still absolutely take over a game. And it was obvious that Indooroopilly at the same time also prioritized that bot lane with the amount of times that Pop the Smoke was able to return back to that bot lane and continue trying to gank it. So I feel as if, yes, if we're playing a perfect game of League of Legends, the AD carry might not become as relevant unless, you know, things get really late. However, we've seen that happen.
This is
right
spicy though. Indooroopilly switching it up. The last game they played super defensive and aggressive, but going for the 5-man invade. Unfortunately, not going to find anyone. All of Indro is stacked on that bot side, but I like this initiation, knowing they have the stronger early game composition.
Absolutely, but you got to be careful right now if you are VayZhao, because he almost walked right into the thick of it. I'm not sure if he spotted anyone because the rest of Indooroopilly were able to get to that bush. So VayZhao still kind of scouting right now. At the end though, everyone's going to recall just to make sure things get going for them. With no invade coming from the MacGregor side does mean that this invade won't get punished. They will be able to do a better job of tracking YeDieJiuWo, who in the past, you know, he was able to counter gank quite effectively in the early game, as well as find a couple diving opportunities. It even looks like they're actually going to go for the buff steal in this one, and that is a very risky play. You can also see Indooroopilly, they're still cautious in case they're getting invaded against as well, so they're kind of slow pushing into their lane, faking the essentially that they might be going for that blue buff as well. That could be the desired effect. So I'm liking the mind games, and I'm liking that adaptation that we were talking about coming from the Indooroopilly side.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest strengths I've seen about Indooroopilly, the ability to change their playstyle from game to game and go, right, this is where we went wrong. I think they know that they went wrong in their bot lane pick. We played too support, we played too passive with the Soraka. You know, in the jungle, the Zac did not work for us. Let's play a bit more aggressively here. Let's go for something that's going to jump in and do a lot of stuff in the early game. Let's play an aggressive support. This Thresh already landing the hooks.
That's a big death sentence, and that is a comforting thing to see if you are a fan of this Indooroopilly side. The Last Dance already starting to feel a bit more comfortable on this Thresh pick. lionroar still able to harass Mabøroshi as we expected with this matchup, and last time, game number 1, MacGregor really came into these lanes looking to set the tone. They were being the aggressors. This time around, Indooroopilly is fighting back, and that could lead to very different lane dynamics moving forward.
Yeah, and you know, it could almost be MacGregor getting a little bit too cocky and overconfident. It's kind of hard for you when we talked about the Indooroopilly mindset, because you know your focus goes to that. How do you reset after falling behind and losing so handedly? But also, how do you make sure after you win so like hard that you then go, okay, you know, we need to reset now. We need to make sure we get back into it. It's not like a traditional sport like rugby or AFL where you come into the halftime break and you're up by 20 points and we've still got a lead. lead in the second half, so even if they come out a bit more aggressive, we've got that buffer, it's back to 0-0. It's a level playing field. It's anyone's opportunity to take it away. So you got to make sure you're not getting too cocky, you're not getting too overconfident, and you're still staying controlled, you're still playing smart, and you got to reset and go, okay, it's 0-0 once again. We've got to do exactly what we did last game. Let's not let them make mistakes. Let's win this. We know we can beat them. Let's just still treat them with respect because they're still a great side.
And it's something that I have to like bring about with Rocket League as well. It's something that we actually see quite commonly, where it's easier to bounce back from a complete wash of a game than it is a very, very tight game, at least on the mental standpoint. Because you can just write that off as like, okay, we had a roughie. Reset, redo. You don't think, oh, doom and despair. It's just like, well, that game happened. All right, let's try again. As opposed to if you have that tight game and you're more emotionally drained, it's harder to bounce back and go for that complete mental reset. And already it feels like Indooroopilly has gone for it. That said, VayZhao on this Mordekaiser, that hasn't been answered yet, and he is still looking just as comfortable as ever.
Yeah, I think VayZhao, I think they're banning out the Fiora, but I think there are way too many other champions you can play into a Fiora. I think there's stuff like, you know, heavy tanks even work into Fiora. Playing stuff like this Sett works great into Fiora Jax. Again, another skill matchup, Renekton. These champions that work into him. Oh, as you see, a very heavy poke.
That's a great death sentence into the play. Doobie is going to try to use the tornado to escape. It sweet steps forward, but has to condemn 80 carry back, so that's less damage being thrown towards Doobie. Meanwhile, in the 1v1, chadyou is actually winning for the moment. VayZhao, though, does get that shield and will force chadyou back. That could have been a massive solo kill going either way.
Yeah, but again, going back to this top side, I think they focus on this Fiora ban, but I think banning out the Mordekaiser is so much more important because Mordekaiser has so many less counters. There's not really any champions that I can even think on the top of my head that go, oh yeah, that hard stomps Mordekaiser in lane.
Oh, they're still fighting. Meanwhile, down below, the gank does come through. Death Sentence pops a very early cleanse, yet It Sweets is still flashing after it. A very premature flash, and one that may not have been necessary in this instance. You can see the range of 80 carry only going back. Meanwhile, it's a gank from YeDieJiuWo getting the flash out of chadyou, who is barely able to escape. That's a flash for flash in the top lane as well.
Yeah, VayZhao going back to base. chadyou looking to push that lane in as he knows the Mordekaiser's back. Then Ekko looking good. YeDieJiuWo playing something aggressive, blowing a flash just early on. Again, showing that he can play more than just those scaling junglers playing the Ekko here. And getting a flash early on. Vampire accepts it here on the Sett. He's going to have a little bit more sustain against the Mordekaiser, but Mordekaiser already going towards those ninja tab eyes means Sett's going to fall off in effectiveness quite quickly in this lane.
Yeah, what I find really interesting, though, if there's throughout this one, is just how much more comfortable the Last Dance actually looks on this Thresh compared to the Soraka we saw that game before. And VayZhao just loves to fight, doesn't he, every time we go up there. Meanwhile, Mabøroshi getting a fair bit of poke, able to dodge that Scare of the Week, and is looking to go in, drop the Ignite. That should be first blood, but will we see the return kill? Not if Mabøroshi stays away from that tower. Not much Pop the Smoke can do.
Yeah, lionroar there playing a little bit too far off, was on way too much low health, and Mabøroshi taking advantage on the Aatrox. That's something we didn't see out of lionroar. He looked so safe, so unable to go down, but great punish there from Mabøroshi, and once again MacGregor strike first in this match.
Meanwhile, up in the top lane again, these two are just flirting with death. You feel like someone's going to get a solo kill soon right now, and with VayZhao constantly shoving in, actually. I'm surprised we haven't seen Pop the Smoke start roaming to the top side of the map yet. He's been more focused on the bot half. Perhaps it's that Infernal Drake, you know, kind of coaxing everyone down there, but seeing that kill go over to Mabøroshi tells me MacGregor should have an advantage going for the first Drake in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Ekko's early game is still so impactful in that jungle role. He has so much CC, and especially from the jungle. In the mid lane, it's a lot harder to set up trades with that parallel convergence, but when you're in the jungle, you have a lot more, fog of war, you're a lot more hidden, and so you're not expecting for that. Whether when you're laning against an Ekko, you're always going, right, if I see a shadow up here behind me, I run away from it. Whether when it just appears when you're not thinking about it, when you're not looking for it, it's just so much more expecting, and I think that's why it's such a strong jungler and has such fantastic ganks here. I think also it's important you see, I think Aatrox here looking towards rushing the Death Dance instead of going for the Black Cleaver, which has traditionally gone to a fancy feat out of chadyou and adaptation from last.
This could be big. Here comes the showstopper, but it doesn't do that much to VayZhao, who might be able to fight back. Shields coming through, massive on both sides. They're going to fight to the bitter end. It feels like VayZhao might be able to get it back as he drops the mace, and a solo kill goes to the MacGregor side.
And the difference in that exchange was the Q cooldown between the two champions. I think chadyou there looks like he's maxing his W, otherwise the Q there on the Sett would have been up a little bit sooner and would have been able to get that extra two punches off. But you see both those champions, those massive shields, the Haymaker, and of course the what is it, Ghost Armor?
Oh, this could be bad for the Last Dance as he walks right into a tornado. So much damage being thrown his way. The flame pulls AD carry only, and he has been ignited. Under the tower we go. AD carry gets the kill, but at the cost of his life. And you have to remember, that's a Janna as your support. Doesn't stand a chance, you would think, against Sweets, who sidesteps the tornado. The silver bolts do proc, and that is going to be 2 kills going to the bot lane of Indooroopilly.
Yeah, fantastic mechanics there from Sweets to put the ward over the wall to land that auto attack on the Janna. Many players would have missed that.
Oh, Mabøroshi, season opening, gets a solo kill on the lionroar as well. And fighting happening in all 3 lanes. No junglers required.
Yeah, oh, but here it pumps the smoke to try and take it.
Yeah, he's got
Mabøroshi. He's got the shutdown onto that jungle, but lionroar looking uncharacteristically uncomfortable on this Syndra. It's his main champion. He plays it the most, and he's getting taken hand to hand by Mabøroshi on this Aatrox.
Yeah, I mean, Aatrox definitely kind of a bit of a surprise pick to see how well it's been doing in the mid lane. However, did stick around too long, so the Crow Storm helped use to secure the kill. chadyou has well and truly lost this lane at this stage. Just more cloth armors being picked up, as well as the haunting guys for VayZhao, and it's just able to really shove chadyou away with not much this poor Sett can do with only a vampiric scepter really to his name.
Yeah, I mean, I think this Mordekaiser has been the story of the game. I mean, the first game was a little bit more Indooroopilly making mistakes, but up on this top side, chadyou is looking outclassed when you look at how good VayZhao is on this Mordekaiser. You can't let him have this champion. It's just so dominant. He's already got the haunting guys. He's going to go for that bramble vest, and once that item's completed, chadyou is going to be a wet paper towel trying to hit this Mordekaiser that does so much damage back.
Death Sentence does connect onto AD carry only. Boxes drop. The tornado actually is not required. Instead, they go for the monsoon, but that's still a lot of damage being put down onto this Aphelios. Yes, you can pop kill, but it's not going to be enough as the last silver bolt proc does secure the kill. Doobie 10 now on his own. Good flash behind the minion, and the tower turns it around. Unfortunate misstep from Sweets means it's a 1-for-1.
Yeah, I mean, Indooroopilly bot lane is the lane where they're looking aggressive and ahead, but all over.
Oh, showstopper, another tower forces out the flash. VayZhao on the run, though, will be able to get out.
Such a dumb champion. Like, what is that? He should go down for sure, but has the shield as well to block the tower shots, gets away from a fully stacked Haymaker. Mordekaiser ridiculously oppressive there. Both the supports down the bot lane now taking it to each other. Doobie 10 versus the Last Dance in that lane. I mean, Doobie 10 definitely got the advantage in that first game, but I mean, in the battle of supports so far in the laning phase, I'm going to have to say Last Dance is doing really well on this fresh and looks so much more improved on a more aggressive support.
Absolutely, and again, this is, I think, much more akin to the grand final we were expecting to see, as a bit of fight happening in the mid lane. Mabøroshi still going after it. Unleashed power does barely enough to secure the kill, and with YeDieJiuWo following through, that's going to be 2 more kills going back to the Indooroopilly side. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, a lot of pressure being put on by AD carry only, who, despite having died a couple times, is still really trying to assert some lane pressure here.
Yeah, I mean, Aphelios, you can see, is just such a strong lane dominant champion, and he just has so many different styles based on the guns he's carrying. When he has that Calibrum, he's able to, you know, poke him out. When he's got the Gravitum, he has that bit of extra CC and allow Janna to hit those tornadoes. The Flamethrower allows him to push in the waves extra fast. Of course, the Severum allows him to get that healing as well, and then the chakrams allow him for that close combat whenever the Thresh goes in for an engage. So very versatile in the way he wants to play that Aphelios.
Oh,
what a death sentence.
Knife right there, and the double flay as well. AD carry already forced. The flash has been ignited, and Doobie 10 stands no chance. That said, Sweet still wants more. A couple more autos will secure the double kill, and the Last Dance is playing out of his mind. Here comes the mid lane and the junglers, however, so we're not done yet. Pop the smoke, should be able to escape a Mabøroshi, but Sweets is looking like he still wants to fight. Needs to be careful here, as one wrong misstep will be his death. Is able to tumble away from the knockup, and now Mabøroshi in a bad place gets chunked down with one rotation of those silver bolt procs, and in the end, everyone does back off.
Yeah, I mean, this bot lane from Indooroopilly, it's chalk and cheese when you compare it to that last game. Last Dance was probably one of the key issues for them, and also Pop the Smoke, 2-0-1 on this Fiddlesticks, 1-1-4 on this Thresh. This Last Dance is taking it to this game, and Sweet's looking equally as good, and you can see that that first game was just completely support difference, I think. Doobie 10 played insanely well in the first game, and, you know, this bot lane, this it seems like the rest of the map has been the story of the supports. Whichever one's ahead taking it over, you know, getting their mid laner into a good position, the jungler helping out too, but in this top side, it's been Mordekaiser, Mordekaiser, Mordekaiser.
I still remember back in like pre-season 4 when everyone thought it was all the AD carry who was doing all the work in the bot lane, and then that all changed. Last Dance though could be in a bit of trouble right now. It's already taken quite low. Death Sense is going to connect on to YeDieJiuWo, who's just going to use that to go in. Mabøroshi has already taken out the threat, but no one is touching It's Sweet, who's throwing so much damage back. YeDieJiuWo tried to poke him out, but wound up getting chunked out instead. A very late Crow Storm is only going to anger that already pissed off dragon, so maybe not the best call right there. As VayZhao and chadyou unable to teleport to the fight because they're too busy in their exchange as well. Up in the top side, dragon area has been secured by Indooroopilly, but it doesn't look like we're going to continue that fight. chadyou trying to pull VayZhao under the tower. Is going to flash forward. Here comes the showstopper, the follow-through punch, and that haymaker was not enough to secure a kill. Dragon quite low. It's Sweet, so looking for a pick onto Yuumi. Will flash forward and get that kill, but at the cost of his life, and that is a key damage taker gone from the Indooroopilly side. The dragon dance is continuing as up top the health bars are equally as low. VayZhao trying to find his way into it. Dragon is secured by Indooroopilly, but here comes YeDieJiuWo. Has a full health bar, but does not want to fight.
Yeah, I mean, and that was such a big mistake there from It's Sweet, who's been playing so well so far. Maybe being a little bit too aggressive. He was like, man, I was oppressed all of last game. I want to go and do something today. And instead gets caught out for being a little bit too over-aggressive. lionroar looking dangerous, but lands that Scatter the Weak stun there to keep himself alive. Man, that was such an insane play from Indooroopilly. The only problem there, It's Sweet's giving over the shutdown to YeDieJiuWo. This Ekko who has been very quiet and, you know, hasn't looked to be super impactful versus this Pop the Smoke. Was unable to land that, you know, Crow Storm. I think if he was able to channel that a little bit sooner, that would have really turned the fight. But I think it was on cooldown from his initial kill on Mabøroshi in this mid lane, who has looked completely different on this Aatrox compared to the Akali and has been dominating the Syndra in the 1v1.
Absolutely. This game has just been completely different. At this stage, last game, we were looking at an 8k gold lead for MacGregor. This time around, it is nearly tied. Indooroopilly with like a 200 gold lead, and VayZhao actually might be going down right here, but Mabøroshi has to flank, and chadyou needs to be careful. Under the tower he goes, and the kill is secured off of that dive. So the top of the map still very much going in MacGregor's way, but the bot half has been taken over by Indooroopilly. So a very much, you know, a game of two halves so far. No towers fallen yet. And I think that is critical, because once those towers start to fall and we start to be seeing, you know, these power sides ramming into each other, wherever that might be, then we'll really get a good gauge of who's in the lead in this game.
I mean, honestly, I think Indra want to keep the towers up for as long as possible. I think the Ekko here is going to be this key champion, as well as the Aatrox. You saw him, Mabøroshi, get off a good roam. Those two champions want the game to be broken up a little bit. You know, Aatrox loves being in a side lane, so does this Mordekaiser. And while they're still stuck in these 1v1 matchups, in the lane matchups, I think this bot lane here for Indooroopilly, It's Sweet and Last Dance are looking so strong. The Blade of the Ruin King already completed on the Vayne. It took her 21 minutes to get the item in the first game. She's got it here at 14 and a half, already looking towards that Rage Blade. It's Sweets are looking so much stronger this game.
That they are, but MacGregor is looking to punish that bot lane. You can see YeDieJiuWo looking for a possible entrance into the bot lane, but not going to find it this time around. Both junglers actually around, which is interesting because the next neutral objective is on the top half of the map, where the top laners are once again having another do. VayZhao just seems to be getting constantly pulled under the tower, yet it never results in a kill, just more survival, it appears. That sentence will connect onto DB10, but it's hit with the knockup. The box is dropped. Junglers are here. This is going to be a pretty crazy fight, or are they? A little bit late to the fight is Pop the Smoke, but it's already a man advantage for the Indooroopilly side. The double kill for It's Sweets does eventually turn into a triple, as up top, where the camera goes, for whatever reason, shows us that, yes, chadyou is still underneath the tower.
Yeah, chadyou has kind of been stuck to that tower the entire game. The only kind of player on the entirety of Indooroopilly who's fallen behind, but It's Sweet's 8-2 on this Vayne. That is one fed Vayne. Indooroopilly are looking in prime position to take game 2. It's Sweets looks so strong, and he's only going to get stronger and stronger the later this game goes.
That said, first tower did go to MacGregor, so they are still able to fight back, and I'm very curious to see how we will transition in the mid and late game, because I agree. Right now, It's Sweets can take this game over, but I've been seeing him flash forward. I've been seeing him tumble forward after death sentences misses. He hasn't been playing his aggression optimally around his team, and once we get into that late game, once VayZhao was in a position where he could possibly pull It's Sweets into the death realm and bad times can happen there, we might see a different story. So I do believe there are some elements of It's Sweets gameplay that need to calm down just a little bit if they want to run away with this game. Now, I believe they can do it. We'll see if it happens as lionroar continues to have a roughie. A lantern is there. It's not going to be taken, however, as now Last Dance has to race back to the safety of the tower.
Yeah, that is a big mistake there from lionroar on this Syndra. You're playing the Syndra. I don't understand why he's making these mistakes that you're a very immobile control mate. That's what Syndra is best known for, being unable to move around the map and again, in that mid lane, gets caught out looking for that Rift Herald. Rift Scuttle there instead, and it's sweet here. Yeah, as you said, yeah, has to be very careful. Mordekaiser is so strong. I mean, 8 kills is better than 1, but into that death realm, they go. It could be very difficult to take out. Looks like she's gone for the Phantom Dance a second. I thought Raise Blade was much more essential on the Vayne. I think a QSS is something we can definitely see going to be picked up here soon for the Vayne. But again, this bot lane is very strong. Mabøroshi is strong. It's one of those things where it's kind of top and mid versus bot and jungle. But the both sides. Lionroar isn't too far behind, but has been caught out a few too many times, and a lot of question marks on his play. Still hasn't got a completed item yet. I don't know why he hasn't rushed that Luden's Ekko, and I don't know why he's got a double pen in there too. You know, he's not ahead. The double pen's really for when you're smashing people early on.
Oh, this could be a big pick. It's Sweet's taken low, but is able to walk away. Or is he? The range of AD carry only 2,000 years or 200 years, whatever it is. I don't know the meme. I'm old. I digress. Able to eventually get that kill. That was massive, but will they get punished for it? Indooroopilly is starting to converge on the area, but they are spotted by those wards. The dragon is going to be the goal right now. Crowstorm, very premature, forces that monsoon. Here comes Mabøroshi from up above, so the lantern's going to be used to drag Pop the Smoke out there, but Mabøroshi still wants this fight. Last Dance from behind him is going to connect on the Death Sense, and that might save Pop the Smoke, but at what cost? As the World Ender was used as well. It's still trying to chase Pop the Smoke away. Doesn't find him. Dragon secured, however, for the MacGregor side, and interesting that lionroar did step forward, but won't get caught.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge overcommittal there from Indooroopilly. You know, your AD carry's dead. You cannot contest that Drake. Why are you going in and burning these cooldowns when you could have saved them and looked for a pick somewhere else on the map? I think chadyou up in this top side is falling further and further behind, and Mord's getting only stronger and stronger. I think, you know, this game is very close. 13 to 12 kills. 2k gold in favor of MacGregor, probably due to that big topside lead that is accrued there for VayZhao. You know, perfect CS on this Mordekaiser, probably the main difference when you look at gold across the map. You know, I think some pressure needs to be put towards this Mordekaiser, and man, Indooroopilly, I think in these team fights early on, it's still in the place where MacGregor are going to win them. Aphelios, such a strong AD carry. Mabøroshi on this Aatrox, a fantastic team fighter, as well as VayZhao, able to sustain these fights and go for a long time. And lionroar, I think, is probably the biggest kind of question mark on Indooroopilly's side so far. He's not very strong as your main magic damage dealer outside of that Fiddlesticks, and I don't know if lionroar is probably in the position he wants to be in.
No, I think it's safe to say that he's definitely having a bit of a struggle in this game. So it's going to be really important, I feel, for lionroar. Those scatter the weeks have to be huge because he has almost become a stun bot in this situation. And again, you go back to that double pen build and you think, what is that actually going to accomplish moving forward in this one? So we'll be curious to see how that will play out, as Pop the Smoke is starting to have his jungle taken away from him. So the heavy farm style will start to decrease a bit. It's Sweet's on his own yet again. Will get rooted in place, and we've seen this already once before where it did result in his death. Flash has to be burned this time in order to survive, and you can't leave a Vayne on its alone no matter how head it is. The range will just always come back to bite you.
Yeah, I mean, especially in the 2v1 in the side lane. I mean, Vayne as a solo split pusher is kind of okay. Especially if you're playing on top side with teleport, has ways to get in and out of the game. And oh, here we go, Pop the Smoke.
Well, this could be big. Over the wall we go, but they're not going to be able to find anyone. The Crowstorm not going to connect, and we've yet to see really that big, impactful Crowstorm, it feels like.
I mean, I think we need to see a 5v5. I mean, it's not going to happen for a while because both these sides know that. I mean, I myself, I'm unsure how a 5v5 goes. I think it's very much on micro plays. I think MacGregor's comp is still ahead early on, but Indooroopilly's team works so much better in the 5v5.
What a death sentence right there. That was nearly blind, it looked like. So, Last Stand still feeling himself.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking real good on this Thresh and looks so much more improved from the Soraka. I think you need to have him in these hook champs, especially given the start of this game. I think if Thresh gets banned out, which I think it might in the next game, go for a Blitzcrank, go for something aggressive. Don't go back to Lulu, Soraka, Janna. Play these aggressive picks. That's what he can do. That's what he's good at. Play something a lot more aggressive.
I want to see Nautilus personally, but that's just me as Mabøroshi tries to get in, but again, we'll get pushed back by the Scout of the Week, still getting poked out. Last Dance is here. Mabøroshi is like, nope, I don't want to get hooked by a Death Sense today. I'm going to wait for a better opportunity to get into this one. What I find interesting is, again, Indooroopilly is sending its Sweets on their own on that bot lane to try and push, but this time not going to go past that river mark where he's been punished twice already, so some adaptation, it appears, coming from the Vayne in this one. Obviously, that big next neutral objective is going to be the Baron. So with no teleport available, I kind of question why you have It Sweets there and not chadyou. I'd rather see the Vayne on the top side and chadyou down below with that teleport available. I digress. We have a pause.
Yeah, I mean, there we go. A pause coming through. Pop Smoke disconnecting. This is one of the disadvantages of playing from home. These players don't have that same ability and access to the internet. So, I mean, it could be a bit of an issue. And hopefully he gets connected back online so far. And, man, the game state is at a very crucial point. I think, as you said, the Baron is now coming up. Vayne, of course, you know, it needs to be in the area. I think one of the biggest issues, I think, for Indooroopilly is lionroar on the Syndra is actually causing them a lot of macro headaches. I think... You know, they need to have Syndra in the side lane. You know, you want to have your AD carry in the mid lane, able for all those fights, because in the team fights, It Sweets is looking real good, and I think that's where they've really exploded this league, as we are very quickly back into game. Pop the Smoke.
But are we?
Oh, it's freezing.
No, okay, yeah, we are.
Here we go.
Okay,
but yeah,
I
think lionroar needs to go towards these side lanes because It Sweets is, you know, really good in the team fights, and that's where Indooroopilly are creating their leads.
Yeah, I do agree on a lot of those fronts right now, and lionroar also with the teleport available, so there's kind of no reason to put him, you know, in a safe sort of farming situation on one of the sidelines. Get him back into the game financially. That should be perfectly acceptable.
I think something like a barrier or a heal even would have been so much more effective on this Syndra. I think the TP hasn't been utilized at all, maybe in lane to get back after he died. But again, the items in this Syndra, the playstyle of the Syndra, I'm not vibing with this champion. I think it could have been pulled off a lot more effectively. And I guess maybe playing against an Aatrox, something that's a little bit unmeta. That's kind of MacGregor's key characteristics, playing off meta picks in the mid lane. It looks like instead of going for the big purple worm, they're going to be playing towards this Ocean Dragon. If MacGregor pick it up, they will be on Soul Point the second game. And I think the Ocean Dragon, I've made it very clear throughout every game I've ever casted, I think is the best dragon by far. And I think Ocean Soul is pretty much a game winner.
It very well could be, and you know Indooroopilly does not want to have that soul point against them because that means MacGregor will control the tempo for that critical team fight. And in a game where that's so on a knife's edge, it's those advantages that can come back to bite you. So I do expect Indooroopilly to possibly look to challenge this dragon coming up. However, they are going to be late to the punch. It is MacGregor who has been able to set up first, and you can see they're setting up it around that death bush in the river. Leading the charge will be Pop the Smoke is up top again. Yes, top laners are going to brawl. They'll try and disrupt teleports, but if chadyou goes down, that's already a massive numbers advantage against the side of Indooroopilly, and chadyou will do just that. So that is a lot of dragon pressure loss. Obviously, VayZhao can teleport if needed, but he can also keep shoving in this top side tower. He has that utility. Dragon briefly resets. We're going to see the steal attempt. Parallel convergence not going to come through. Tornado goes through, and Indooroopilly actually backs off, not willing to risk that 50-50. They're trying to drag the dragon out. VayZhao goes in and steals it away. A critical steal for the MacGregor side as the top tower starts to fall. Yes, YeDieJiuWo gives his life, but Pop the Smoke wants something back. Has to go down with the Crowstorm, but the rest of MacGregor are going to be able to escape. And Indooroopilly lets a critical dragon slip through their fingers.
That's so bad there from Indooroopilly. Pop the Smoke unable to land that smite. Fantastic play from YeDieJiuWo to grab it, but they have to play that duel with time. chadyou went down on the top side to VayZhao, and you need to go, right, okay, my top laner just went down. I need to now look at the balance out and go, right, we're going to lose that top lane tower. We can reset now, lose the tower and get out. Or we can commit for this dragon, try to win a fight here and give up the tower. But MacGregor got the best of both worlds. They got the dragon and the tower. They did lose YeDieJiuWo in the process, but that's a very worst trade if you're the side of MacGregor. And that play is almost game winning for them as all lionroar could have been caught out there.
Yeah, lionroar nearly caught out. VayZhao, though, will be able to escape through that Baron pit as well. I almost question the decision to pull the dragon out of the pit just because of the crowd control that they have. I feel like in the pit, it would have been able to shut down YeDieJiuWo with that play. You have a condemn from the Vayne and walls everywhere.
You can still smite even if you're CC'd. I think the key there was to kind of stop. It was just MacGregor were posed too, and I think if chadyou didn't go down, completely different. I think Indra get that dragon for sure. You know, you tell the Sett to teleport in. Sett, I think, needs to be involved with the team. I want to see Indra in a 5v5. We haven't seen him in a 5v5. No. In the 4v4s, it's been going in their favor. Even just then, surely they only got one kill, but MacGregor was running away. You know, Doobie lend the 4-man knock-up to get him out of that. You can see him here sieging up this mid lane. It Sweets, lionroar, and Last Dancer. Such an imposing trio of champions. And I think with our front line there, with chadyou being able to get in, he needs to get out of this isolated matchup with the Mordekaiser because they're just bleeding out. Mordekaiser has got so many items. He is the strongest player in the game. He's only got 2 kills. He's 237 CS now. He's so strong by himself. over perfect CS here on the Mordekaiser.
It looked as if Mabøroshi may have been caught out by the last dance right there, but it's sweet. His attention was actually focused in the mid lane, just trying to chase down, I believe, AD carry only. So interesting exchange at the moment. Doesn't lead to any deaths just yet. And Indooroopilly needs to be careful because take a look at the map from up above. The pings are coming down. And VayZhao is walking right into a trap. Is caught by Skazariq. Is going to try to run away. Yes, we'll pull a couple of people in. But he has to go shallow run, I feel like, to escape. InSweets might have been caught out, but it's pulled to safety at the nick of time. One shutdown going over to InSweets as the fight does continue. Into the back line goes Mabøroshi. But with characters going golden, that's big. How is InSweets that deep? A critical kill for AD carry only on the sliver of health as the Monsoon tries to buy Yuumi sometime, but eventually should get cut down. But from over the wall, AD carry only is just wrecking havoc on this Indooroopilly side. lionroar, the last one standing, trying to escape Mabøroshi, might not be able to get out of this one. Either way, this team fight was huge for the MacGregor side, as finally the ace comes through as lionroar is cut down.
Yeah, I mean, that was very poor play there from InSweets. That fight was going so in favor of Indooroopilly. They were so far ahead. They looked like they were about to ace them all. There was low health bars across the board. They shut down that key member in VayZhao, but so many resources went into taking down that Mordekaiser. The rest of the team from MacGregor was there. Mabøroshi was the key player, I think, on that Aatrox being so much of a nuisance. 9 kills amassed on that champion. Hasn't picked up the best dance yet or the Spirit Visage, and those 2 items are going to be quite critical. I think as well, the fact they used those cooldowns to try and get a pick earlier, you know, they didn't have the final hour available, didn't have the box available, didn't have the Crow Storm. That's a key team fight ability. The 3 ultimates were the biggest difference in that team fight. And I mean, look, if Indooroopilly have a perfect team fight and they didn't have those ultimates, that could be very differently. But InSweets went down to assassinate AD carry only, but in the 2v2 couldn't take him down there with Adobe keeping him alive, and that was a huge crucial factor. I mean, it's not over yet. MacGregor now are quite far ahead of Indooroopilly, and this game much closer. This is what I expected the entire series to be like. But I mean, maybe that fact that they won game 1 so heavily could be so crucial in kind of determining the factor where, you know, MacGregor might win this, Indro win the next one, but then MacGregor win the next one because it's just back and forth, and that mistake they made in that first game could come back to bite them, and the series could go down 3-1. But then now another big team fight will be coming up. The biggest thing I think in this, it will decide the game. At the moment, all ultimates are available. I think there is a summoner advantage for Indooroopilly, and maybe if VayZhao goes down here, it could be another factor. Again, Danish.
lionroar caught though. lionroar caught just a bit behind, and there's not much Indooroopilly can do as MacGregor get a huge pick. That death timer, 20 seconds longer than the Dragon's death timer at this stage. So as you're mentioning, that big fight about to happen. Well, now Indooroopilly is a man down.
And chadyou's on the top side too. I think that pick there could almost have decided the game and gotten MacGregor their second win in the series.
Yeah, that could be it at this stage. And I don't know what Indooroopilly can do. Now, we've seen one crazy steal already. It did come from the MacGregor side, but it's so much easier to pull that off when you're on the blue side and you have that ability to sort of hop over the wall. Pop the Smoke is going to have to run through vision, and already Mabøroshi is guarding that Ocean Soul with his life. It has been secured from MacGregor. They've got the Baron. They have arguably the best Dragon Soul in the game. All what's left to do is sort of take that Nexus. The gold lead starting to snowball more and more. Just a few minutes ago, it was dead even. Now it is a 5K gold lead, I should say, for MacGregor. And I don't know. I feel like Indooroopilly may have wasted their chance with that last team fight.
I mean, InSweets is still here, still strong on the vein, is only going to get stronger and stronger. So there is still ways. It's not as over as it was last game when MacGregor got the sell. There are still ways for Indooroopilly to get back into it, but it is really difficult. I think lionroar on this Syndra has been the reason why this game has been so difficult for Indooroopilly. I think on his comfort champion, he lost lane in the 1v1. They've bled out so much gold in the side lanes because the Syndra has really been unable to go there or unwilling to go to the side lanes and pick up the farm. You know, now that AD carry only on this Aphelios has got those Runan's Hurricane and the double crit, he's going to be shredding through the rest of the team and is going to have so much AoE team fighting in these fights. And chadyou is just kind of looking demoralized on this set. He's only got 1 item completed despite the fact that he's been in a side lane farming all game, and it's really disappointing when you think he's on his probably most preferred champion in the set here. And look, honestly, VayZhao level 18 on this Mordekaiser has kind of been the story of this game. I think, you know, regardless of what happens in this game, I need to see that Mordekaiser banned in game 3 if Indooroopilly are going to win this series.
I 100% agree. It has just been too much of a dominating performance, and really, if you go back to the semifinals, that's kind of like 3 games in a row we have just seen him absolutely run rampant when getting this Mordekaiser. So Something very, very much Indooroopilly needs to be mindful of moving forward. At this stage, though, the game not quite over yet. The Baron buff has worn out, and surprisingly, MacGregor actually weren't able to bust open any of those Nexus towers or inhibitors throughout that Baron. Now, another Baron is going to spawn in about 2 minutes. That's going to be another critical fight because of the Elder Dragon. Another 2 minutes after that, if you can establish the map presence with the Baron before that Elder Dragon, well, good times and fortune are heading your way. It could be an avenue for Indooroopilly to get back in this game, but they cannot afford to lose one more team fight or it is done. You can see they're trying to find their picks. They're trying to find their openings, unable to connect on the death sentence there from over the wall. A bit of poke with the scatter of the weak, but they need to be cautious. Last Dance fortunate not to get pulled over the wall. Does connect on the death sentence, but we're not going to see the commit onto VayZhao. We saw what happened last time. It was not good for Indooroopilly. And MacGregor, they are content to siege to their heart's content because of that Ocean Soul.
Yeah, exactly right. I think each of the souls have, different purposes. I think Infernal's fantastic. Oh my god, hope they're out of the Calibrum.
That's a big team fight ability poked out of the fight as well, because that was Pop the Smoke. That means no Crow Storm for the next 5 seconds or so, right as this wave is crashing. So we're seeing a lot of damage being thrown on the tower. Last Dance nearly gets caught out as well. The follow-through actually is poking its sweets out of the fight, forcing the heal and the flash come from the bot laners of Indooroopilly right now. And this siege going so well for MacGregor. Indooroopilly, they are on that back foot and they cannot find a way back into this upcoming fight.
I think this Vayne needs some anti-healing, because with the Ocean Dragon, you need to make sure you have that Grievous Wound. The Aphelios Moonlight Vigil just went down. The inhibitor going down to MacGregor as well. And this is going to give him so much control when this Baron is up in just a moment. And Indooroopilly falling behind further and further. They need a team fight win if they're going to stand a chance in this game.
Yeah, and it might come at the cost of a Nexus turret, because if they're forced into an extended fight at this Baron, I just really feel they cannot give it up, because then they lose that Elder Dragon and then they lose this game. This Baron is so critical for Indooroopilly to stop. But with that down inhibitor on the top side, being able to find that fight is going to be so difficult. Last Chance does get mildly caught out. I think they're going to go in. He's taken to the Death Realm, and that actually might buy him enough time if he can survive long enough, but it doesn't look like Indooroopilly are going to make a rescue attempt. It's Sweets poking from the outside, but it's too little too late as the Last Dance does fall. It's Sweets still going to pop that final hour, getting a lot of damage. Here comes the Showstopper in the middle of everyone, but it doesn't kill VayZhao. That's okay, because the rest is barely here. A 3-man scatter of the week only leads to a double kill coming from AD carry, only flashing over the wall. It's Sweets, but he flashes right into the trap of MacGregor. They win the fight. They're going to win the game, and MacGregor is on championship point.
And a pentakill coming out of AD carry in that fight. The Aphelios, so oppressive. They banned it out in game 1. They let him have it in game 2. And the Ocean Soul did so much work in that fight. There was a 4-man Crow Storm in the back from Pop the Smoke. That was a perfect team fight for Indooroopilly. But this Ocean Soul, they had so much sustain. It did literally no damage. A surrender comes out from Indooroopilly. We all know it was going anyways. It was just delaying the inevitable. And 2-0 for MacGregor. They're on match point now. That was a much better game from Indooroopilly. But because of game 1, it's looking very dire. They cannot make a single mistake for the rest of the series, and I don't know if they look good enough to pull off the reverse sweep.
It's been 1 or 2 critical mistakes in both of these games that have just opened the door for the snowball, it feels like, for MacGregor. Game 1, it happened right at the start. It happened like level 4, level 5. Game 2, it happened much later with that Baron fight. I still don't know how Sweets wound up miles away from the rest of his team in that jungle right there. It went back to that point I made earlier. Like, yes, they had that lead. They had the game in their hands, but Sweets had to play a reserved game, and the team had to play around him, and that just did not happen in those team fights.
Yeah, and it even goes back to the start of the broadcast where we were talking about MacGregor and why they've been so good, is they punish mistakes. Because inevitably, these aren't challenger players. They're not going to play flawless games. They are going to make mistakes, and it's just a matter of a ticking time bomb for when that mistake happens, they're going to get capitalized on, and MacGregor are going to prove that we're going to punish you for making a mistake. I think, honestly, even though it's going to be 3-0, I expected this series to be more like this every single game. I think game 1 was an anomaly. I think game 1 came down to nerves and a bit of cautiousness on the side of Indooroopilly, and so it is kind of disappointing that is going to, probably decide this series overall. That very first game, I think Indooroopilly, that game was anyone's to take. I think VayZhao cannot be on Mordekaiser.
No.
If they let Mordekaiser again, you might as well call it now. There's no way they're winning. Aphelios as well, AD carry only looks so good, but again, I don't think that was the key issue. I think if you have to weighing up those 2 bans, I think, let the Morgana through again. Yeah, I think, sure, let Doobie have his Morgana, but Last Dance needs to be on Thresh. That was the best improvement of any player I've seen between game 1 and game 2. It was bronze player to like platinum player. It was just so different. It was, man, I think bot lane is going to be very one-sided for MacGregor all series. Doobie is clearly significantly superior to Last Dance, and you saw they're going, wow. It's Sweets. so good mechanically, but just way too over-aggressive. Way too over-aggressive, going for that kill. I mean, he tried to go for the hero play to take out AD carry only, and honestly, I think the MacGregor comp worked really well in teamfights because because VayZhao was so fed on this Mordekaiser, they had to focus all their damage in taking him down, and meanwhile, Aatrox and Mordekaiser are those two very similar champions up on that top side that are able to fight for such a long time, so much sustain built into their kits and so much AoE CC. So I think very difficult for them to do it, but we will now only have a 2-minute break before we jump into potentially the final game. MacGregor 2-0 up. It would be hate to see a clean sweep in our final series once again, but MacGregor looks set to do it with 2 pretty convincing victories.
Yeah.
But again, we'll be back very shortly if you guys don't go anywhere. Yep.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the grand final of the Queensland League of Legends High School Championship Series. I'm still Formal, still joined by Mitchell Replays Henderson, and this could be the final game. This could be it. MacGregor, they are up 2-0. They have won 2 games in very emphatic fashion. Yes, they were 2 different games, but the one consistency has been their ability to punish mistakes. And will they find one last crack in the Indooroopilly armor to take home this beautiful trophy next to us? You can't see it because you're looking at these picks and bans.
Yeah, I mean, this big trophy here. Unfortunately, the players aren't going to get to hold it up after their big win. They do get a big prize of, I think, a 7,000 RP, maybe a little bit more.
I think it was 9,000.
7.5.
I don't know. It was a lot. It was
whatever. It's a lot of RP. It's about a decent amount of RP. Good to see that Aphelios banned off, but there needs to be a Mordekaiser ban.
13,000.
There you go.
500. Even more than we thought. Like, it's enough RP that we could like fit it all in this giant trophy. And then I think it would be overflowing. I don't know. What would be the size of one RP? Is it like a 20-cent piece?
I don't know. I don't know what an RP is, but finding that Mordekaiser is banned. That's good. I like to see that. Indro could definitely try to turn around the series from here. I think it's Sweets on the Vayne. Needs to make sure he's playing a lot, but he played very well both games on the Vayne. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of improvements. I mean, Indooroopilly have shown their adaptability. You know, the first game was poor. The second game was much better. That was a really close game, and honestly, it could have gone either way. There was that one fight that went in favor of MacGregor that turned the whole series, and if that fight went to Indooroopilly's side, I think they win that game.
This is a very critical pick. I'm very curious what Indooroopilly is actually going to prioritize right here. I wouldn't be surprised to see
Olaf.
Syndra.
I want Olaf first pick.
I think it's
want
an
an aggressive jungler.
I honestly feel it. Blitzcrank, let's go.
I mean, the Thresh is still available. I would have gone for the Thresh again, but Blitzcrank again. Last Dance looks so much better on these aggressive picks. Cool, the Fiora pick straight away.
Insta-lock Fiora pick. That's been banned away games 1 and 2. And we were having a little debate about whether or not you let that Fiora through in game 3. I was saying no, you ban that again instead of that Aphelios. You were saying let's go ahead, let it through. Well, now we're going to see who is right in that assessment, and we will see how VayZhao performs on it. Yuumi, another one that was banned away in game number 1, back when Indooroopilly was on the blue side, is now through for one Doobie 10, and we haven't seen Doobie 10 on this champion yet today. I'm noticing a lot of comfort picks right now going to the MacGregor side.
Yeah, but again, I think this is much better. I think chadyou plays a Sett. I want to see a Sett pick up here. Sett's so good into Fiora. Oh, the Kaiser for Itsweets are very similar to Vayne, but just better. I think Vayne, but better. That's what Kaiser is. That's why she was so dominant. It's Vayne, but better. It's just more utility, more mobility, more healing, more range even too. I don't want to see a Syndra from lionroar. I want to see something else too. I think the Syndra, both games has been, it hasn't been bad, it just hasn't been good. And I think when you're back against the wall, when you're down 2-0, it needs to be aggressive. Well, I don't like that.
Don't like the Shen?
I don't like the Shen. I don't like the, I mean, I suppose you can see, Indooroopilly have now very clearly given their identity for this draft. They're going for a dive comp. So even Nocturne jungle could be interesting here. I would actually enjoy a Nocturne Shen. A Nocturne Galio as the last 2 picks. Protect the Kaiser, jump in hard. No Syndra this game, so lionroar will have to adapt his mid lane champion pool. But I like the fact that they've gone for this. Shen is going to support our Kaiser when she dives in hard. Shen into Fiora, I mean, it's a pretty even matchup actually. I think it goes very heavily both sides. This Yuumi pick could be paired with some aggressive junglers. I'm surprised they haven't gone for the Master Yi actually, because Master Yi Yuumi is a great combo. YeDieJiuWo obviously very comfortable on the E, but instead elected to go to Ekko every game in this series. Last game, I think we saw his true form on Ekko, and I mean, his Ekko is not great, it's not bad, it's a pretty average Ekko, but it's definitely not going to lose you a game. It's
getting the job done. It gets the job done. I mean, that Dragon Steel, I think, was monumental for MacGregor, and not every jungler has the ability to jump in like that. Granted, he didn't get the escape, so it wasn't the perfect steal. It almost was.
Okay, it's going to be, I reckon it's going to be Akali versus, I mean, if they pick Akali, Galio is the perfect.
Okay, that's something we haven't seen in a long time. Sivir.
That Sivir Yuumi is the original Yuumi OP duo. If you go all the way back to when this champion was first released, it was Sivir Yuumi is pick man. Sivir is a champion that hasn't been paired with Yuumi for, I mean, probably since then. Everyone was like, oh, great with Ezreal, great with Aphelios, great with Vayne, and boom, back to the very start.
Can I now express my disappointment that we have a Fiora instead of a Kled? Yeah. Because I would love just to see everyone pushes their ultimates and just run straight. Like, let's see how fast you can really go. I digress. This team comp coming together from MacGregor is scary. But you got the Galio that you wanted. Not the Nocturne, but J4 I think is a lot safer, more utility, more adaptability, which again plays to the Indooroopilly strength.
Aatrox is going to be looking here by Mabøroshi. I mean, the Akali's up, but Akali's really bad into Galio. I think that's why it's a very smart pick up here, making them forced onto forcing him to go for the Aatrox once again. I mean, Galio is very susceptible to early deaths. Sylas from Mabøroshi in the mid lane. I mean, I don't mind that either. Actually, that's not too bad. Especially given the fact we have such impactful ultimates on the enemy side, right? Shen ultimates are worth a steal. Kaiser ultimate could be worth a steal. Jarvan ultimate could be worth a steal, and of course Galio ultimate is following him around when he goes for those runs.
Yeah, absolutely. You have the ability to follow through on those roams, and that all of a sudden means that Sylas can run something a bit more aggressive, like the Ignite, perhaps, in the mid lane, and actually not rely on a teleport to find these flanks. So I actually really do like this Sylas pick because it does it doesn't get rid of, but it sort of matches one of Indooroopilly's team comp strengths, which is that ability to go from like a skirmish to a 5-man play or a 5-man dive because of the sheer global ult and map presence Indooroopilly will have. That said, and this has me very nervous for Indooroopilly, we saw it in game 2, it's Sweets. He can go a little bloodlusty. He can go divey. Now you have the backup that can follow him in. Yeah. But if he goes too far, if he finds himself out of position, the team can't make that save. That is all of the damage gone for this Indooroopilly.
Yeah, I mean, Indooroopilly have opted into a single carry where all eggs are in the Itsweets basket. I mean, I think he has been probably, I mean, I wouldn't say the player of the series, but for Indooroopilly, the MVP. Hands down the MVP, I think. Given both games, across both games. Last game, I think Land's last dance was the MVP. We haven't been giving game MVPs. I mean,
it's a series. It's not about one game. It's about your performance.
I like giving each game. I go, but again, it's actually been very difficult to actually give out those awards.
VayZhao on Mordekaiser and VayZhao on Mordekaiser.
But the Pentakill, I suppose they got beaten in lane pretty handedly. So I guess VayZhao Mordekaiser so far. I could take it boring because he hasn't the one thing I think about
Mabøroshi. Give it to Mabøroshi. He had an amazing Aatrox team that kind of we didn't really talk up enough because he was just absolutely dominating lionroar.
I don't like the champions he plays. I don't like his play style.
You know what? Sometimes the results speak for themselves.
Results-based analysis isn't my game, even though it's exactly what an MVP vote is. I'm going to be stubborn and say no.
All right. You can be stubborn. You can say no to that. But again, it is all the eggs in the It's Sweets basket. I mean, talking about pressure, though, and I'm very curious to see how he's going to handle this one, or she. However, they are going to handle this one just because this is your tournament.
Yeah.
You lose this game, you are done. And your team is saying, you know what? Hey, you're going to get us through this. Good luck, buddy. We have your back. Yeah, sure. If I see one killer instinct and no follow-up.
Ooh, it's a big yikes. The one thing I would like to say is pop the smoke here, finally on an AD jungler.
Yes.
Zach AP, obviously, Fiddlesticks looked okay on the Fiddlesticks, didn't look as packed. I think in the Jarvan 4, he's going to have a really good game. I think it's a champion that I'm surprised he hasn't been on it sooner. I thought game 2 actually was a good Jarvan game when I think about it, and I like the fact lionroar's off the Syndra. I think he was kind of on that Syndra, and he was playing too much of a, I can play this champion good enough that no matter what happens, I know I'm going to be okay, and not thinking we need to win a game. I'm going to put my team on back. I'm going to play well. He's just going to be like, I'm going to play this Syndra, and I'm not going to lose us the game. Yeah. And I think the mindset now has to be not, I'm not going to lose us the game. It's, I need to win us this game because if I lose, it's over.
And I almost want to see Pop the Smoke actually go for an aggressive Jarvan build. This could be one of those.
Yeah, I think AD Jarvan actually not bad.
Yeah, I think that might be the go right here because a big issue I feel for the Indooroopilly side could be their laning phase. I like, the Sylas into the Galio. I think you can poke and harass the Galio out if you do it correctly. Galio can't throw that back, so you have to be cautious. Same thing in the top lane. I give a small edge to Fiora over the Shen. And those are two very critical winning lanes. Those are two critical solo lanes. So Indooroopilly is actually going to be on the back foot, I feel, for a lot of this game. Unless Pop the Smoke can take advantage of these lanes and find avenues to turn them around. So I want to see an aggressive play from Pop the Smoke.
Yeah, exactly, which was the issue in game 1.
Yes.
The issue in game 1 was they paid they didn't have any lane priority.
Yeah.
They do have jungle priority. I think Jarvan does win the 1v1 versus Ekko. I mean, Ekko is a good 1v1 too. You don't mind you, but I think the Jarvan with support from his laners, honestly, I think the Shen pick is a little bit, I would like to see the Sett again from chadyou. I think, he looked quite good on the Sett. I mean, it was just a difficult matchup. VayZhao was so good on that Mordekaiser. But I think, again, if he played that champion, I think Sett still fits with the dive comp. I think it gives you that kind of alternate damage. I don't think there's enough damage. I don't really think for Indooroopilly. I mean, Galio's going to do a little bit. But again, he's mainly just that kind of supportive CC.
You got to go hard AD Jarvan. I just feel like
you have to have hard AD Jarvan.
Hard AP Blitzcrank. Let's see the one pop Blitzcrank. Let's bring it out because.
Maybe lionroar support last man's mid. I would actually love to see that. And even if that's, I think that's losing. I don't think winning that. But if you're going to go down, that's the way to go down and out.
Even from support, just like just support item. Yeah, you go your support item into a Rabadon Sett cap.
I could very easily see this game go to 50 minutes. I could see this being a long, long game. Just because Fiora wants to scale, Sylas wants to scale, of course Sivir wants to scale, and when they get into late game, these team fights are both very well done team fights. It could be a long team fight where only one member on each side survives, or only one member survives, just the Yuumi maybe could be the last standing member, and they're not going to be able to take the game from that position, even if the death time is after 50 seconds. And then again, I think that, if that happens, Blitzcrank just sells one item, gets a death cap.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, if we see a death cap on the Blitzcrank, I am going to be the happiest caster in all of Queensland right now. That's all I'm saying. One last thing I want to add about the MacGregor side, which is a little bit different from what they've had in the past. They now actually have a pretty decent engage tool with the Yuumi's Lost Chapter.
Yep.
That's something that they've been lacking before, and I'm curious to see how they actually will play around it, because they've been pretty reactive in these team fights in terms of how they fought out. Ward is going to catch the entirety of the Indooroopilly side, so this invade is destined for failure. Interesting that VayZhao isn't pushing on the top side of the map right now.
Yeah, it hasn't pushed in to get a ward on the blue buff, but I suppose now they do know that they are going to be starting down in this blue. The one thing I could see a potential issue here is they did start on the enemy blue last game. They did get the invade, and they thought they weren't spotted. This game they have been spotted, and I don't know if they know that or not. I mean, I think they do now. The fact that AD carry walked out through ability into the bush, they go, okay, we've been spotted out, so that's not going to happen. But I think Jarvan 4 really needs to play towards this bot side. Yeah, I think AD carry, but the problem is Sivir Yuumi is such a safe lane.
It is. It's a safe lane, and MacGregor should know exactly what Indooroopilly is thinking just from this draft phase alone.
I mean, unless Shen actually could be decent in the Fiora matchup too. I think Shen is one of the sleeper top laners that is actually super aggressive. He has a lot of damage early on in his kit, and he has a lot of CC and setup for a jungler, especially in the early game. Jarvan can be very aggressive before Fiora starts to get scaling. I think once Fiora gets further ahead, the Shen's going to really have a tough time up there. But before that happens, I think, it is very much in the wheelhouse. I'll pop the smoke to sit on this top side and get very far ahead.
I don't think VayZhao cares for that matchup, though, going super deep to try and poke chadyou out, who really does not want to fight it back. And I'm a bit surprised by that, because chadyou had caster minions on his side in that situation, but instead just let Fiora just free hit him time and time again.
Yeah, if he just started autoing back, the minions on the level 1 stack up very heavily. Yeah. If you got that Q follow through, the Conqueror is something that would have changed that around a little bit, but Shen is still healthier, even though VayZhao went for that big trade.
Yeah, that could have. I feel like chadyou actually should be playing a little bit more aggressive in this lane. We will see. The pot has already been consumed by chadyou, which is why he is sitting healthy. So, and then you got a cookie and a health pot as well in VayZhao, who's just been such a dominant laner. And I believe, that's just a side effect of strong laning. That said, lionroar might have Mabøroshi caught out right here. A fair bit of damage. Not going to commit to the dive. Smart call, because YeDieJiuWo was just waiting just behind.
Yeah, Galio is one of the strongest mid laners at the moment. I think in lane, it's actually going to be quite dominant. It has so much CC and so much resistance to any other magic damage champions, and as well as that AP, but could be.
Oh, this could be bad, because YeDieJiuWo is here for the gank. Just as lionroar goes in, they're going to force out the flash, but with the ignite and the follow-up flash, it will be first blood going to YeDieJiuWo, and MacGregor are off to a hot start.
Yeah, that's not good, especially given the fact that Indooroopilly want to scale. Big mistake there from lionroar, unable to scout out that gank coming in from YeDieJiuWo, and as a mid laner, that's something you always got to expect around that 3-minute timing. That's when junglers go for their first ganks. Uncharacteristically from YeDieJiuWo, who hasn't been a very proactive early game jungler, and just getting caught out at lionroar, maybe getting a little bit too cocky, but has that TP to get back into lane, so he's not going to be too far behind. But I think the main difference is when Mabøroshi goes back and is going to pick up an extra item or two. I still don't feel worried for this Galio. Galio is such a strong laner that he'll probably be completely fine, but chadyou, go for the taunt. He's not going to feel he's sitting way too close, and you can draw that tower aggro and get a big trade, but decides instead just to leave a big CS lead already on.
Here we go. Flag and drag does connect on the AD carry only, forcing out a very early flash. That was the blitz hook, I believe, which got stopped by the spell shield. Yeah. But it just followed through with the flash, so it just looked like a chain from the ether.
That was real weird. That's one of the weirdest animation glitches I've seen in a while, but the flashes are now gone, so the next hook that lands from this blitz, the next rocket grab, could be crucial. You see here, chadyou doing very well into VayZhao's Fiora.
Yeah, chadyou's doing a bit better. The CS is still very heavily in VayZhao's way, and again, I feel like that comes from the passive play coming from chadyou, which happens when you just get rocked in lane 2 games in a row. It's a side effect. It's really hard to come back mentally from that, and right now, bad times could be going a bit worse. YeDieJiuWo is on the top half of the map, so there is no help for chadyou should a tower dive come into play, but with the wave about to actually start pushing him back in chadyou's favor. Again, he could leave himself susceptible to a gank in the very near future, so I hope to see a bit more aggressive positioning and play from chadyou. Otherwise, well, we could be seeing another death in this top lane.
Yeah, but again, Shen is actually quite slippery when it comes to ganks. He's got the Q pull through to get the slow on the chase. He's got the taunt as well, which is, a bit of a gap.
Oh, rocket grab onto Doobie 10. Does not get back to AD carry only in time, and that's going to be a kill secured in the bot lane for Indooroopilly. Unfortunately, it goes to the last dance and not to Sweets.
But that's the start right now. Of Sivir's by himself. And you see, again, last dance landing those hooks, he was almost had a point and click death sentence that last game. I don't think I saw him miss any crucial ones, at least. When you're throwing him out in lane, that's a bit different. But when he's actually aiming it, I think he's hit most of the time, and rocket grabs probably more impactful than the death.
Taunt into the flag and drag does catch Mabøroshi up. No flash available. Means Mabøroshi should go down, but it's still taking enough to walk to the safety of the tower. A bit surprised that doesn't result in a kill. Meanwhile, up top, VayZhao and chadyou going at it. chadyou is winning this fight and gets a much-needed solo kill. Finally, he gets one over VayZhao, and that's got to feel good.
Yeah, everything going right for Indra, especially from the draft. I think if the last game was game 1, this would be a fantastic game to follow up, and that first game just looks so poor and just looks so disproportionate. These games have been so close and these teams are so evenly matched, and if you only watch that first game, it was just like, okay, MacGregor's going to throw. They look by far the better side, and Indooroopilly adapt, change up what they're drafting, change up what they're doing, and I love this new strategy.
Oh, here comes YeDieJiuWo to help out Mabøroshi, and for the second time, lionroar might go down. Steadfast Unite is actually coming through right now from chadyou, so that Shen shield helping save lionroar in this instance, but that's a critical ultimate gone. You have to think Indooroopilly now has to make a play for that Cloud Drake because everyone's there, but instead chadyou is going back up to the top lane.
Yep, but big cooldowns available. Big cooldowns just used then flash on the Jarvan to try to go for the EQ flash combo, but obviously not mechanically, optimally. Obviously Jarvan is something I haven't really seen him play at all. He is quite a common jungler, so he's a little bit of practice on it, but that EQ flash mechanic is actually quite difficult to land, and burning the flash, I mean, if he landed it, it would have secured a kill, so good to go for, but unfortunately missed it, and then the Galio ultimate, I think, was the big key cooldown that was really unused. I don't think you needed to channel that heroic entrance. But I mean, the Stand United down is a big cooldown. 3 minutes, I think, on that, and then 2.5. Oh no, maybe it's a minute and a half on Galio. I don't know, 2 minutes on Galio. I don't know. Big cooldowns though overall, and big team fight are ultimates too. But Ekko not opting to go for this Cloud Drake means it's not going to be as impactful.
Well, he's going to be going for it right now, but everyone is around. Teleport available for chadyou and not for VayZhao, so number advantage still should be in Indooroopilly's favor. That said, chadyou does need to stay healthy, and with that wave crashing in, it might cause Indooroopilly to hesitate on using that teleport. That said, MacGregor might be getting cut out right now. lionroar is going in. Will he connect on the taunt? Flag and drag doesn't, but the taunt does, and they've caught 80 carry only. He will go down. That does leave Doobie10 in a bad situation. YeDieJiuWo is forced through the jungle as well, but Cloud Drake will go to the Indooroopilly side.
Yeah, I mean, and that's huge for Indooroopilly. I mean, you say Shen is like, you can see very hard down in CS, but Shen is the best weak side laner in the game. He is the best champion at losing lane. By far. I mean, maybe bar Ornn, but Ornn doesn't lose lane anymore.
No.
He's just so good at absorbing pressure. Down in CS, but obviously got the kill, which is huge for the Shen, but is able to impact the map through that Stand United, keep his champions alive. You know, has the TP advantage too, so if they need to go for a play, he can show up. That's why Shen is so strong. It's enabling that macro gameplay. And when he was released back in Season 3, he was a champion that actually revolutionized the way we play the game.
Season 3, he was released, he was
season 2, maybe season 2.
No, he was in there.
He wasn't in the original 40, was he?
I'm pretty sure he was.
I thought he was Season 2.
No, he was definitely in Season 1.
Oh.
He was definitely in pre-season 1, so he is ancient. Shen was the first champion I ever played, actually.
Really?
Yeah, fun fact. I played him in a game, and I was like, oh, I want to play the ninja with the sword. I thought he was an AD carry, so I just bought a bunch of Phantom Dancer, like Zeal items on him. It went terribly, might I add.
I mean, my first game was Master Yi, and I didn't buy a single item because I didn't know what they did. I was playing Master Yi support.
Item list?
Because I played the first game and everyone obviously called their roles and I was like, huh, what do I do? And everyone goes, you're support. And I just went, oh, Master Yi is the champion I played in the tutorial. Locked it in. My AD character goes, it's like 23 minutes into the game. When I was playing with people like friends from school, they're all like, level 30, level 33. So we're playing in
this is a good game. This is going to be a very good game. Cataclysm help used to secure the kill, but VayZhao might be able to turn it back around and pop the smoke. You can see the Stand United actually coming through, as well as the heroic entrance. So many ultimates being burned, but that heroic entrance was actually from Mabøroshi to try and back up YeDieJiuWo on the counter gank right here. And somehow VayZhao survives what looked to be a crazy gank. Hey, they have their items. That's why no Master Yi itemless supports in this game.
None of this sort as we interrupt a little reminisce back to the past. And Indooroopilly, the Sylas was so impactful, but massive CS lead actually in lionroar's favor in this mid lane. Got one death on that Galio, unfortunately due to that early gank. And I mean the Fiora there, getting that Force Duel, no, what's it called? Grand Challenge down, gets to that extra healing. Pop the Smoke was very close to going down and had to ban that thing out. I don't think that was the case. She would have survived, but you see Galio trading heavily into the Sylas in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, big trades, but not a lot of damage coming from either side as well. As Last Dance going to look for a rocket grab perhaps, or maybe it's already been used off camera, so it's not going to go for the pull in this instance. AD carry able to bring it back, but they need to be a little bit cautious right now because you do have Pop the Smoke waiting in the wings. Here comes Last Dance, gets the silence, but does not connect on the rocket grab now. Fortunately for them, Pop the Smoke actually has not been revealed, so he still has some area to play with as Mabøroshi wards the top side. Going to get caught with the taunt. Not going to lead to a fight just yet. No neutral objectives available, so these pokes and these fake fights are very interesting because it's hard to commit when there's nothing really to fight for.
Man, if Blitz took Hex Flash here, it'd be a perfect opportunity to Hex Flash.
It would be. That'd be amazing. I love Hex Flash.
It's such a fun ability.
It is such a dumb fun ability, but it is one of the best. That said, though, with that range increase to the rocket grab, you can still go for these long snipes in this instance.
Without the flash, but it's just with the minions in the way. I mean, one of my favorite things to do is actually get the Hex Flash on Zoe and just Hex Flash all the way up because it's actually faster than walking. Like you Hex Flash, get the boost from your W, and walk until it runs out, and then Hex Flash again, and it's faster than just walking to lane.
Well, there you go. That seems like a waste of a rune to me.
A rune, but it's fun.
Yeah, exactly. As we see Last Dance, going for the rocket grab does not connect, and even if he had the spell shield timing was there, so all that would have done was given more mana over to AD carry. Probably a bit beneficial that one did miss. Pace of this game a lot slower than what we've seen in the first couple, actually. MacGregor no longer those very aggressive laners looking for fights, and I think a big reason for that has actually been Mabøroshi just being shut down in this mid lane. Mabøroshi before was one of the key components in wanting to fight all the time, but lionroar on this Galio has been looking monumental for Indooroopilly.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually very interesting to see these two sides go head-to-head later in this game. I think, honestly, the slower pace of the game probably benefits Indooroopilly a little bit more. But again, the side lane factor in the late game from MacGregor, I mean, they're going to want to split push. They're going to be quite effective at it too. And four taunt there from, Shadow Dash, sorry, from chadyou.
Yeah.
He channeled it before he'd even gone for the taunt, which is a bit unfortunate, but missing the cooldowns only just. AD carry only, this Sivir has been such an influential pick in keeping that lane nice and safe. It's very hard to get on top of it, very similar to the Ezreal. Quite hard to get on top of the Sivir given the fact he has a spell shield and the Yuumi zoomies to get away. Yuumi's such a meme champion. It's just such like a...
Yeah, I think Yuumi is arguably the best support in the game, but that's just me. I've been told I've been wrong by so many, pro players and amateur players and high school students alike. I still stand by Yuumi as the best support in the game, just because of the sheer impact that she can provide in a team fight.
I think Yuumi is the best pure support.
Yeah.
So when you think of the initial role of support in traditional gaming, it's about heal, shielding, blah, blah,
It's
blah.
Yuumi and Thresh, the two of them together.
Yeah, Thresh is by far the...
Oh, Dragon Steel not going to come through for Pop the Cloak, but still looking for the fight. Cataclysm goes down there, AD carry only. Look at the healing from Yuumi. This is what I mean. AD carry only is fine for a long time, but eventually does get cut down as all of Indooroopilly is able to swarm on him. It's Sweet's going to go one-on-one with YeDieJiuWo, and looking to win it does force out the Chrono Break, but lionroar waiting on that other side helps chadyou secure a kill. Actually, that was lionroar who got that there, so it was a double kill. 3 kills going to Indooroopilly, who are back in this series, it seems, with a vengeance.
Yeah, I mean, this game looks like it is what Indooroopilly have always wanted to do. VayZhao, again, getting fed in the side lane, got their first blood tower on the Fiora, but that is huge. Indooroopilly winning the early teamfight, the first time in the entire series that's happened, but I mean, this teamfight comp is such well put together, and I think this is going to be the story of the game. The teamfights are going to go 100% Indooroopilly's way. I see no way MacGregor ever win a teamfight.
Yes.
Unless there's a huge mistake on another pull.
Oh, that rocket grab on Mabøroshi will mean the Sylas will go down, so lionroar is actually the one getting all the kills right now. That said, we are just buying time until its Sweets is activated, and VayZhao, who has been that top lane presence, that top lane monster, a little bit more reserved this time around against chadyou and his Shen. Yeah, the farm difference tells one story, but the fact, as well as the actually first tower going down, I think the Herald needs to get dropped right now. And
yeah, I mean, it needs to get used.
Was it? It was, okay, yeah, okay.
Woo! But I mean, it's not going to. I don't think it's going to get a charge off. Maybe it might down in this bot lane, but again, I'm saying here, I think this entire story of this game is VayZhao's going to be split pushing. He's obviously going to be pushing towards this lane. I expect him to never leave top lane pretty much the entire game.
Oh my gosh, look at Last Dance go.
Moving up, looking for those hooks. But yeah, I think it's going to be the Indooroopilly side playing their own objectives, getting the team fight and taking the Baron, and then on the other side of that, Fiora taking all the towers, and it's going to end up being a base race. And I really think at chadyou, it's looking quite good. Bramblevest already on this Shen. It's going to be hard for Fiora to contest him in the 1v1, but when he needs to group with his team, that's when VayZhao is going to take that opportunity to get in and take a lot of the towers. I mean, the Fiora needs to kind of be shut down, but there is no really reason why they'd ever do that when the team fights are so strong. I could maybe see him warranting going for a pick. Jarvan, Galio, and Shen could definitely take down this Fiora by themselves, but VayZhao is going to end up pushing into Shen. Shen's going to be sitting at whatever tower he has to, clearing out the waves, stopping the push from going any further. Sitting on a ward down here are the two bot laners, so it's going to do a little bit of something. But
VayZhao going super deep after chadyou right now, but now it's caught in the Cataclysm in a very bad spot. VayZhao should go down, but somehow stays alive as the heroic entrance finally enables that death, but now chadyou could be the one in trouble, or is he? That is YeDieJiuWo falling next, so 2 critical deaths from MacGregor, diving super deep, and Mabøroshi trying to help, but he will also pay for the crimes of his teammates. A double kill going to chadyou, and Indooroopilly are starting to run away with this game, it appears. Gold's still quite even, but if they can get an unofficial ace, that would be huge. Lost Chapter trying to stop Itsui, who is able to kill her instinct out of it, and down goes AD carry only. Doobie 10 will be the next to fall. The good times keep rolling for Indooroopilly. It is an unofficial ace, or it is the ace. They got it with 1 second to spare.
Man, that is huge for Indooroopilly, killing them all across the map. That is why this Goon squad is so effective from Indooroopilly. Shen has super tanky and has pretty good damage for a tank. Same as Galio, same as this Jarvan. These 3 champions, very hard to take down. You saw all on low health bars, but so much CC, and they actually timed it perfectly. Indra looked like a completely different team to what they do in game. If you see game 1 and you compare it to this, it's 2 completely different stories, but the transition seems complete. First game, oh, we've done really bad. We've gotten stomped. Second game, all right, we're getting back into the groove. We know we can take it to them. When we lost, we made a couple of mistakes, we can definitely take it to them. Third game, all right, we've got our comp. We're going to destroy these guys. We're going to come back. And this could be a 5-game series. Honestly, I was questioning it and going, I don't know if they could reverse sweep. I don't know if they could play 3 more flawless games. But with this game being as dominating as it is, I think if they continue this pace and they end this game in 25 minutes with a 20 kills to 2 or 20 kills to 4 scoreline, the competition is well and truly back on. MacGregor are going to be on match point, so Indooroopilly are unable to make a single mistake. I honestly kind of wish Game 1 was omitted and we had another 5-game series from here, because that would be some high-quality League of Legends in the Queensland Championship to see. And man, Indooroopilly here, if they dominate this game, this could be a 5-game series.
Dude, can you imagine if this was last year and we were still doing a best-of-3 finals? We wouldn't have this situation. Exactly. This is why best-of-5s are absolutely fantastic. That said, this next Rift Herald actually still will be secured by this MacGregor side, and that's a critical tool for the red team, because they're still going to be trying to rely on this split push. Now, split pushes are super hard when behind, and Indooroopilly sussing this out, gets a big rocket grab onto VayZhao, but the Herald does go down, and that does mean a lionroar with last chance want no more part of that fight. So MacGregor still understands their win condition, and they're still playing to their strengths. I mean, you have to look at it from this side as well. They've gotten 3 neutral objectives, 2 Rift Heralds, as well as 1 Dragon. So MacGregor definitely not out of this. It's actually only a 3K gold difference despite the massive kill lead in favor. We expected something like this considering how strong the laners were going to be on the MacGregor side, but Indooroopilly, I did not expect to have a gold lead at this stage of the game.
No, but VayZhao is, kind of the levering factor, here we go.
Flash engage coming from the last dance, but can't hit on the rocket grab. All right, Indooroopilly, they're starting to get very, very eager. They want to push that go button, it seems, as chadyou gets the taunt under tower finally. VayZhao, not happy with that trade, will have to back off.
I mean, once chadyou gets his, I think, honestly, he should, here we go.
Oh, this could be a nice pick. Meanwhile, in the mid lane as well, another catch. Here comes the heroic entrance, trying to make the save. The last dance actually has to be a little careful right here. VayZhao still alive. Another heroic entrance, this time coming from Lion's Roar, is leading to kills left, right, and center. It's a double kill in the mid lane, only 1 given back across the map, and Doobie 10 on her own, or his own, I don't know, it's a cat, will be able to get safety under the tower.
I mean, honestly, not gonna lie, that's one of my favorite parts of League of Legends. When you kill the AD carry or you kill the team and there's little cats just running away, and you just kind of, I do it sometimes. I'm playing Yasuo, I kind of just stand there, I E through the cat. I don't hit it, I let it, because Yuumi's so useless when she's by herself, and you just let her think she's about to get away, and then you just land the Q and she dies. And it's just so empowering. I think honestly one of the most, honestly, you think about I saw a meme on some sock actually today. It was like how powerful things make you feel. It's like money, graphs about halfway up. Power in political 75%. Watching a Yuumi walk away after you killed the AD carry, 110%. 10 out of 10 feeling, 11 out of 10, even better with Rice. As another pause comes through. Wonder what this one will be. Hopefully it should be resolved. Maybe it's a kid getting up for dinner.
Oh, dinner break in the middle of the game. Look, I'm not entirely opposed to that. I'm getting a little hungry myself. But just when this series is starting to get really, really interesting right now, Indooroopilly, they took that smaller gold lead. They just blew it wide open after that last fight. They're now sitting at about a 5.5 gold lead. They're winning these team fights quite handily. It is looking very good for Indooroopilly at this stage of the game. Now, we can't go too late, I feel like, because if Fiora gets online, it doesn't matter how far ahead you are, that split push is going to be a considerable threat. And VayZhao already has 2 completed items, has that Hydra, has that Trinity Force, so the split push threat is 100% there. Yes, you have the Bramble Vest being completed for chadyou, so that's going to inhibit a lot of the sustain. However, You got to be cautious from MacGregor. I mean, you make one mistake, they will jump all over you. And despite it being a 16-2 score kill line, you'd expect a lot more of a goal differential than just 4K.
Again, it's the farming from VayZhao. He is, CS is so important. If you're able to maintain perfect CSs and 10 CS PM, you just get so strong. But it's sweet. It could be a very dangerous match against VayZhao. But this Xayah has got her 2 items too. The Rage Blade is going to stack up the more and more she autos this wave. And she is, the Indooroopilly squad is strong across the board. And I find, the later this game goes, sure, the Fiora is going to come online, but I think the rest of the squad is way too far behind, and I think Indooroopilly's team fights around this Baron is going to be the key difference. And then once I get the Baron, I think chadyou wins the split push, honestly. I think with the Baron, the Shen is stronger than the Fiora in the side lane. Shen, such a good play into that Fiora, and again, I question it and look at this game and go, why did they not ban the Mordekaiser earlier? Why have they let the Fiora through? Why were they so scared of this champion? Because sure, VayZhao has been excellent on the Fiora, and he has looked very, very good on this champion, but he looks so much better on the Mordekaiser. The Mordekaiser was so much more oppressive. There are ways to play around this Fiora. The ultimate's not as impactful in a team fight. Even the riposte, you can play around it. There's so many more options to counter the Fiora. Even if you can pull out something like a Quinn, just dominates her in lane. There are so many more options against this champion, and against Mordekaiser, your options are so limited.
Oh, it was a bait from chadyou, forcing out the heroic entrance from lionroar. VayZhao now going to have to make a run through the jungle to escape. Interesting timing to use the heroic entrance on the bot lane while Baron is up, and it does look as if VayZhao actually might be able to escape. They're sending 3 members after this Fiora right now, and as soon as It Sweets makes themselves known, you might see 4 members now going for it. All right, as soon as MacGregor sussed this out, they should be rushing towards that Baron as VayZhao's going to do what they can. Tries to get the kill on It Sweets. Might actually get it, the riposte does not connect, so a bit unfortunate right there. Instead, the pressure is being thrown in mid lane. Something I want to point out, which I'm actually excited to see how this one develops. The Soul Stealer right now on lionroar.
Yeah, I mean, Galio with a Soul Stealer is definitely peculiar. Galio, more of like an AP bruiser. I think was probably the first AP bruiser. I think Mordekaiser.
That rocket grab was big on the Mabøroshi, but here comes the lost chapter to possibly turn it around. lionroar caught out.
A lot of healing.
Yeah, too much healing, too much tankiness on the Indooroopilly side.
I want to see you definitely need a Executioner's Calling on the Xayah. You definitely need a Morello's on the Galio, and you've got the Jarvan's items. That was the old skill build when the Gargoyle Stoneplate first got introduced in the game. There was just only J4 with Cinder Hulk and that Gargoyle. So you just jump in with the J4, you press the ultimate, you press your Stoneplate, and you stand there and go, haha, you can't kill me now. And then the Galio comes in, the Shen comes in. I love this throwback comp. This was the comp in Season 9, and pulling it back again. I mean, the Nocturne was that additional one in there that helped round out the composition, but looking very strong here from Indooroopilly. And MacGregor, I mean, they are still scaling, right? MacGregor are, potentially getting back into this game, and I think Indooroopilly needs to look towards this Baron quite soon, or towards the next few dragons.
Absolutely. I mean, you still have to worry about, the classic Sivir 3-item power spike, and when that comes into play, good things can happen. As VayZhao, having enough of getting bullied around by chadyou, wins that 1v1 quite handily. It's going to come at the cost of this Ocean Drake, so it's going to be Soul Point going to Indooroopilly, and we're a similar situation to what we saw last game, but now reversed. MacGregor, though, they don't actually contest this dragon. They did give it up, so they're content to keep on trying to scale, try to get closer to their optimal team fighting capabilities before they're forced to go for it. But VayZhao continuing to push right now. He might actually take a tower off this before anyone can respond. Yeah, the tower does go down. The reactive play is going to be in mid lane. Ooh, rocket grab does connect. AD carry steps back into it and is immediately bursted down. That's it. Mabøroshi is going to try to fight back. YeDieJiuWo is going to try and help out this Sylas, but not going to be able to do too much as It Sweets is too far ahead. Kill after kill, a triple going to It Sweets, and that pick may have been the icing on the cake because now Indooroopilly, they're looking at Baron.
Yeah, and I mean, with the Kaiser, with the Rage they completed, has one of the fastest Barons, I think, of any champion. I think Kaiser is the fastest Baron finisher, maybe Cassio, Karthus could be up there with it, and Vayne as well, but the fact that the passive shreds through the max of the Baron means that this Kaiser is looking online. 8 kills on her, the Galio very strong as well. Man, I think, maybe the steal.
Spots out the health, but now you got, lionroar is starting to scout out. This is such a risky play, but they back off the Baron momentarily.
You just keep hitting it. Like, there's no threat, right?
They backed off.
They didn't take it. Okay, interesting enough. They were worried about the steal. Maybe that's a bit of confidence from the last game where Pop the Smoke did fail that smite fight. And man, Indooroopilly had such a big window to take that Baron, and that would have really accelerated the game. And MacGregor maybe forcing their way back into it. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a point where they're going to catch up. I think Indra are too far ahead, but it's things like that that make you go, man, I don't know if they can pull off the reverse sleep. They need to play flawlessly, and they're lucky enough that they're far enough ahead that I don't think any mistakes they make this game are going to be punished as heavily as they would be in previous games.
It does not feel like a 21-3 game.
Yeah, but in a game where it's you know, this far ahead, you want to be dominating. You don't want it to be close. I mean, the VayZhao is the one that makes it, at least scoreboard-wise, look kind of even, and YeDieJiuWo on the Ekko has played a very Master Yi style game on this Ekko. I don't think he's looked good. This is his worst Ekko game by far. I think you've really seen the play style of a Master Yi Kane Kindred player playing something more aggressively, and which is why those junglers are not great junglers to play. Because they don't teach you how to play the jungle properly.
Almost on this current meta, there could be a time when the late scaling jungle comes back, maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe this.
I hope so, because I like scaling jungle. That's
actually Pop the Smoke played a fantastic Shyvana, like AP Shyvana.
Yeah, I remember that. That was.
I'm surprised we haven't seen that come out.
Game
like
4.
I suppose we have got more games coming. I mean, you would assume so. We don't know.
I'm still not convinced Indooroopilly has this one. I see a 21-3 scoreline, and I see less than a 5K differential, and I kind of have to question something. That said, MacGregor are able to hold on. They just cannot afford to get caught out. I think one more bad catch does kind of seal the deal for Indooroopilly, and they will take this game. But I'm watching AD carry only slowly keep building those items. I'm watching the effect that VayZhao has on the map and sort of just delaying this game just from the sheer split push alone. That said, those couple tower shots could be advantageous for chadyou, who doesn't want to look to punish too much, remembering what happened with that last 1v1. There are avenues back into this game for MacGregor, and I don't like how Indooroopilly is starting to slow the pace of this game down.
Yeah, I mean, especially look at how quickly VayZhao.
Oh, that's a teleport wasted.
Yeah, a teleport wasted out there by lionroar and chadyou getting chased down. I mean, is in that spirit suicide, so won't be taking too much damage. And oh no.
Under the tower, this could be risky for VayZhao. Still going to look for it. Needs to get that challenge. Frost does get it with the heal, and VayZhao survives the dive, and that is absolutely huge. I don't think VayZhao gets out of this one alive, but that could open up more doors for MacGregor to start pushing back in that mid lane, perhaps.
He's only level 13. Fiora is level 16. I mean, you saw last year, Kelvin. Oh
no, it's Sweets could be getting caught out right now. VayZhao trying to buy some time. The riposte is not going to stop, but a great dodge from lionroar. Okay, the mechanics there were filthy, but just too much of a health differential.
I mean, Sweets is probably the strongest mechanical player on the side of Indooroopilly.
Oh, Cataclysm on AD carry only. That's going to prompt a heroic entrance, and it's coming from the Indooroopilly side. AD carry only shouldn't go down. Pop the Smoke still chasing. How's AD carry still standing? Able to get out of this one. A big heal coming from Yuumi. 10 does mean AD carry only gets out alive.
There is no anti-healing. You're against a Yuumi, you're against a Fiora, and there are no grievous wounds on the Indooroopilly side. They need to make sure they're building these items. It's so cheap. 800 gold is all you need on the AD carry. I mean, the $3,000 on the Morgana is expensive, and hopefully lionroar's building towards it. I have a feeling he's going to get lionroar instead, which I think is completely wrong in this game. Get some anti-healing. Stop them from getting their HP bars back. AD carry only would be dead if you had any anti-grievous runes, because then he would not be able to use any healing from the Yuumi.
Oh, death push perhaps? That's going to look for it. I mean, you got 2 Bramble Fests, and as soon as you see those bouncing blades, well then all of a sudden a good time will happen. As taking the dragon right now will be the Indooroopilly side, and that's going to be a very critical Ocean Soul, as a matter of fact, going to Indooroopilly. So very interesting to see what happens with this one now. I mean, that's definitely going to help sort of the tankiness of this side. That is absolutely for sure. And they're actually rotating straight from that Ocean Drake to Baron. AD carry only has to be very careful not to get caught out, because if that Sivir goes down, I think MacGregor actually does lose this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, if that Ocean Soul, the Elder goes over to MacGregor, they can definitely start contesting these major team fights, I think. As well as that, I mean, the Soul is great. I think Ocean Soul, I was going to kind of touch on it last game in the game.
Mabøroshi in a bit of trouble, actually has to burn flash, but now looking for a bit of a re-engage. You do have YeDieJiuWo just waiting in the wings, but they're not going to go for it. Last Dance was caught out in the jungle, and no one wants to push in it, so Baron control looking to get established. Teleport available for VayZhao, so you will expect to see some aggressive play from this Fiora, who takes yet another tower. And this split push is coming in so critical for MacGregor.
Yeah, I mean, Death Dance completed as well. She's very, very strong. And I said it was Fiora versus the team fight, and I don't think Indra has played aggressive enough to kind of warrant it. And I think VayZhao now requires 2 people to come in and beat her. I still do think that the rest of the side, you know, they will still win a 3v5.
VayZhao actually wants to take this 3v1 right now. I'm very surprised by this one. Now trying to get away, does eat a, you know, the killer instinct comes through. There's no Kiana in this game. I digress though, but with 3 members showing themselves spot, that does mean MacGregor is going to try to rush down this Baron, will get spotted by Pop the Smoke, and you do have global ultimates available on the Indooroopilly side, so immediately MacGregor tries to pull away. Pop the Smoke still looking to get what he can, and now the pings are actually going for Indooroopilly perhaps to go for this Baron.
I mean, Indra should go for this Baron. They can't contest. I mean, the only threat is a steal from YeDieJiuWo, but if last stands just gets a rocket grab over the wall, that's all you're going to need. They just keep playing aggressive, but they need to get this Baron. You see, Fiora is so strong. Fiora is just going to beat the Shen in the 1v1.
Yep.
No doubt about that. Unless Shen has Baron. That's the only way he slows it down.
Oh, this could be the base cracking open. Lost Chapter coming from behind. Does get the root on its sweets, but no follow-up available. Very premature, I feel like, on that. Perhaps there's a use to possibly keep AD carry only alive, but that middle inhibitor gone is going to really inhibit the split push threat coming out of VayZhao. That is a huge take for Indooroopilly. And now, maybe now they can start looking towards that Baron.
Yeah, maybe they can, and hopefully they do look towards it. I hope that they don't start funneling through mid now, because that's one of the problems when you get mid inhibitor. You start funneling through mid and you forget about the side lanes. If you're still pushing these side lanes, there's still an opportunity. VayZhao are gonna go start pushing towards that bot lane inhibitor. Baron is started up. The one thing I do like about Indooroopilly, I don't think they're gonna lose this game. I don't think they can lose because of
why are they recalling? Okay, here we go. It was a bit of a fade push right there. Yeah, I mean, this is a very slow Baron take because of the death push, because of the attempt, and YeDieJiuWo has been spotted. Is going to draw some attention away, but the Baron should be secured with YeDieJiuWo being forced out. Baron still chugging along. 3K. Pop the Smoke's actually very low. This could mean an opening for a re-engage perhaps, but no way to get in, so Baron is secured. Unfortunately for MacGregor, VayZhao wasn't able to get into the base as well before it falls. Super minions, meanwhile, crashing into MacGregor's Nexus towers. And now it's starting to feel like Indooroopilly has finally wrestled control over this game.
Yeah, I mean, with the first Baron taken at 32 minutes, given the fact they were so far ahead, I mean, if you actually look at, if you cut off the game at 20 minutes and go for the next 12 minutes, the kill score's 2-2.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, when you're up that many kills to have an even, I mean, sorry, it's 3-2 to Indooroopilly. My bad.
Yeah.
3-2 to Indooroopilly. A 3-2 kill score in 12 minutes after you're already up 20 kills, that's not great. No. I mean, it's mainly because VayZhao has just been destroying in these side lanes, and he is the best player on MacGregor. And almost, I'd actually consider next game, ban out the Mordekaiser and the Fiora. Ban them both out. I think ban the Aphelios.
That's what I was saying.
The Aphelios can't go through. I mean, I don't think the Fiora was that good. I think chadyou did well handling it, and I think if they do this again, but I think in the next game, I think MacGregor are going to...
Well, let's hold this thought right now, because VayZhao's going for a 1v1. Does have some backup in the form of Mabøroshi heading that way. Teleport is going to come through. VayZhao trying to escape, but it's right into Mabøroshi. chadyou doesn't want to chase, so they eat a Lion's Roar teleport, but can they get out alive? Especially with their base getting sieged upon. VayZhao actually is going to go for the flank onto chadyou, but why do you really want to push this hard for a Shen? VayZhao trying to lead members away, it seems, but as all this is happening, take a look at the top lane. Indooroopilly knocking down tower after tower.
Why is Kaiser mid? Kaiser needs to be with these two guys. They would have taken the inhibitor by now, but Kaiser is doing the problem where you funnel in with the super minions. You don't just let the supers do their own thing. It's basically a champion pushing a lane. Go and push these side lanes and get true advantage of this Baron.
Flag and Drag does not connect on AD carry, but the Cataclysm will, forcing out the flash. Here comes VayZhao, trying to hold back its sweeps. The heroic entrance actually gets canceled, so we don't see any lockers, but its sweeps is just getting poked out of this fight by VayZhao on the other side. YeDieJiuWo is trying to find a way in. Its sweeps does get a kill eventually on VayZhao, and with the Fiora gone, that is so much damage and so much pressure taken off the map. Super minions piling through the middle. You have cannon minions up above in that top lane. Indooroopilly are starting this fight back. 2 members down, 2 damage dealers down from MacGregor. The rest of the team cannot do much. Down fall the Nexus towers, and we have ourselves that proper series as Indooroopilly are marching towards a Game 3 victory. Cataclysm does catch everyone of its own team. It does not matter. Let's go to Game 4.
And that was much better from Indooroopilly. I still don't think that was convincing enough to say they're going to take the reverse sweep. They didn't play clean enough. They definitely did not play clean enough. But it's a good improvement. I think it's a great start, and I think VayZhao is a big issue. Kelvin Grove won last year.
Yeah.
And their biggest selling point was a very strong top laner. They had a Diamond 4 top laner, and they played through top. That's how they won the games. Again, VayZhao is very strong top laner who is playing, like a really, really good player. I don't think his rank is indicative of the player's skill.
Yeah.
But what an insane game. I think very well adjusted here from Indooroopilly. But MacGregor, I think, next game, if I don't see YeDieJiuWo on his Kindred or Master Yi, I'm going to be questioning that jungle pick, I think. And if there was a Kindred or Master Yi in that game, that could have been so different. The Master Yi Yuumi would have won that game for MacGregor, and they would have been 3-0 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I still am looking at this Indro side, and I'm just like, they're slowly improving each game, all right? They get stomped game 1. They lose closely game 2. They win closely despite that kill score game 3. Like I feel that kill score line was not indicative of how close that game actually was.
I think the kill score made reflected too. It was Fiora split push versus team fight. And in that game, the team fight's going to get all the kills. The Fiora doesn't care about kills; she just cares about towers. So I can see the kill score in the closest of it being fair enough because that is actually quite tricky macro to go. Oh, we need to go for the objective, but I'm scared of the Fiora, and making that decision and going, which one do I go for? But that's 3 games gone. It's currently 2-1 overall in game score. The 4th game is coming up and could potentially be the last. Once again, I think the draft phase, has adapted very much since the start of this series, and I think that's going to be the deciding factor. I think draft is actually deciding these games. Even though, the first game was a bit of nerves, I think. But other than that, I think draft is really important. I think whichever side gets what they want to play and plays it well is going to win.
That said, though, we are going to be taking a quick break, and whoop, that amount of time, just over 3 minutes, looks all right. So we will be back in a few moments, so do not go too far. Game 4, MacGregor still on match point, but Indooroopilly, they're looking for that reverse sweep. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Anyways, welcome back, everybody. I don't know how much you heard about like our pizza plans right now, but it's getting around that time. It's getting around dinner time, and what better way to celebrate some exciting grand final action than with a tasty meal by your side? It's not here yet, but what is here are those picks and bans. My voice is formal, your voice is in replays.
It is, and again, the draft exactly the same as the first game in terms of the bans. The Galio has been added on, which means the Wukong is allowed through. I didn't know why Wukong was being banned out so often.
I find out.
I mean, we might find out here if Pop the Smoke plays it in the jungle, but I honestly go for the dive comp again, except swap the Galio and the mid lane out for maybe a Nocturne. That worked so well. And I think, again, the Fiora being let through, I mean, VayZhao is the threat. I think that is MacGregor's key call position. You know, they saw him talk about in an interview, you know, 80 carry only. It has also carried a lot of games. But I think It's Sweets has outclassed him in the bot lane. I do think he's better 80 carry. I think the last dance on these aggressive picks is really good. I'd like to see them drop the ban a Blitz, ban a Thresh. Because I think that's been the key thing. I mean, surely they didn't win the Thresh game, but ban out these key carries that he's going to go for. And again, YeDieJiuWo, I think last game he went for a Master Yi. Again, you got the Lulu that helps him, you know, assist this profile, because you know VayZhao, you know, this Shen matchup, Fiora matchup is going to go very well. It's going to go in Fiora's favor eventually, but chadyou is going to go back and forth and they're going to be very even. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I like that from Indooroopilly. And, you know, if we're actually looking at this series as a whole, this game should be a 25-minute stomp to Indooroopilly.
It should be.
If you look at the you know, it was a stomp to MacGregor, then it was a close one to MacGregor, close one to Indro, stomp to Indooroopilly. That's how this should go. However, I don't think it's going to be. I think the first game was an anomaly.
Yeah, I do agree. Just something I want to bring up real quick in case all of you people are confused at home. Indooroopilly is on the red side. MacGregor is currently on the blue side. The graphic at the bottom is wrong. It'll be switched, I imagine, right now as soon as I point it out. All right, people are listening behind the desk. Love you, Jet, by the way. Everyone show Jet some love in that Twitch chat because he has done a fantastic job.
And he's getting us pizza.
And he's getting us pizza, so just show him all of that love right now. That pizza is so important, you have no idea. And as we are continuing through this away, obviously that second round of bans, curious to see the Kog'Maw banned away. I mean,
with the Lulu, he played the Kog'Maw in this series versus... Damn, who'd they play? I know they played, it was like a Kog'Maw Jinx.
Varus,
that was one. Yep. Yep, that was a series. Anyways, Contro's proficient on their champion. The dive comp has been banned out. The Galio and Jarvan, two of the core champions have gone. I'd like to see Nocturne jungle. I would like to see Nocturne jungle. And then pair it with something in the mid lane like a Xerath or Vel'Koz. I think a long range artillery mage could be supportive here. Oh, God, no. Oh, no.
That's not what you wanted?
That's not what you want. Honestly, that's what Olaf is available.
Back against the wall, win or go home, pull out something out of that bag of tricks. Let's go, Nunu. I like it.
I mean, look, it has come back before. Ooh, back on the Akali again, Mabøroshi. In that first game, stomped him, but Ekko mid.
There we go.
I like that. I like this much better. But now I'm very scared for Indooroopilly. This looks like MacGregor on their go-to competition, on their go-to champions. Lulu, Kindred, Lulu, Xayah, Fiora in the side lane. The Nunu's looking real bad now.
Yeah, and this is what I actually love from MacGregor. It's a little bit of a mind game of themselves. They're just going to keep running that Ekko jungle until they lose, and then surprise, we can flex it mid as well and pull out that.
I think that was the key difference, right? If they had a Master Yi last game, that game was theirs, 100%. Rise in the mid lane from lionroar. Okay, I like this. He has a lot of Rise in his solo queue history, and I think it takes it to the Ekko. I think this is going to be a really good game, very similar to game 2. I think this is going to be close. I think it's going to be bloody. VayZhao in the side lane is going to be a real threat, and this could be the deciding game, and this could be the one that MacGregor takes.
The thing as well, the reason why I like this Rise, though, back on the Indooroopilly side, is I think it's actually can be worked as an answer to that Fiora split push as well.
Yeah.
If Rise gets ahead, get that machine gun, it is so hard to plan the parry around, like, getting help.
I mean, yeah, sure, you can parry the first route, but there's another 3 coming your way in 10 seconds later because he's just...
And that's even if you're able to read out the route. Like, the animation for that is so small as well. So
especially if it's a talented Rise that weaves the cues in between.
Absolutely. So this could be a very interesting game. I'm with you. Okay, look, I like the Nunu for the meme factor. I don't know how strong that's going to be in this team.
Like, Nocturne would have been such a better pick here.
And I'm a Nocturne. Like, I love my Nocturne. I would have loved to see
Nocturne would have been
Nocturne.
really, really good. Or Olaf. I would have liked Olaf too.
I don't like Olaf. I like Nocturne.
I don't like.
Oh, okay.
But he was so good in Frozen.
Oh, he's. No, he was not.
I haven't seen that movie, to be honest.
Oh, you haven't?
Frozen 2.
Oh, Frozen 2 is awful.
Because Olaf's the. Oh no,
Olaf's the snowman.
Yeah, okay.
Olaf's the comic relief snowman.
All right, good. Yeah. So Olaf was so good in that movie. Fantastic. I mean, I think On the Rift would do quite well as well.
Yeah. That said, another look. I love how we're always like kind of blurred out by the sides, just so we can all focus.
Here next to the gorgeous trophy that these two teams are social distancing. Sorry, Max.
Oh.
I don't want to get coronavirus. But this beautiful trophy. That's what both these teams are playing for. MacGregor so close to grasping it. I mean, they're not actually gonna be able to get it. Unfortunately, me and Max are gonna take this home.
We might finally have that 1v1 you have been yearning for so long.
1v1 for the
1v1.
I mean, the one 1v1 we did have, you won.
True. I also did win at the Ekko as well last year.
Yeah, that's true. That was team diff. I'm resenting at the team diff.
I digress. We are getting ready to go into this one. A very big game for Indooroopilly. Obviously, they're still trying to fight back. MacGregor again. I still think they have the advantage. I'm still kind of thinking they take it, possibly on this game as well.
Yeah.
Indooroopilly, they looked good last game, but I still think they need to look better, honestly, if they're going to take that series. I don't think MacGregor is going to give them 20 kills in the first 20 minutes like they did in game number 3.
Yeah.
That felt like a bit of an anomaly. And even then, you have to remember, if MacGregor does give that up, they still almost won that game. Like, there were still avenues for them to fight through.
Yeah, exactly.
Indooroopilly, I still think needs to take it to that next level. We've never seen really MacGregor challenge like this on stream before. So this is going to be a first for us as well to see how they bounce back from a loss and what their mental resolve is like. I mean, who knows? They could completely collapse as well.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're VayZhao. I mean, I can see him going, guys, I'm winning this game. But I think they realize what they've done wrong. I mean, they realize, we didn't have anywhere else to kind of support this Fiora. The idea, of course, was 80 carry only on the Sivir was going to be that alternate source, but it was just
too far behind.
What difference, bro?
Yeah.
What difference? I mean, support difference. Last Dance on these hook champs is playing out of his mind and really changing this series around. It's turning into bot versus top. It's Sweets and Last Dance versus VayZhao and YeDieJiuWo. But back on his Kindred, the very first champ we ever saw him play, which he carried MacGregor to. He was the MVP of that first game we ever saw them play. And Mabøroshi on the Malphite as well was quite good. Obviously, playing Ekko, which, I mean, he hasn't played any Ekko, but he plays similar champions, so he obviously has mechanic ability. But Ekko is a champion where you really need to have specific knowledge of the champion. He's a champion where you can't just go, oh, I play champions like him, I can play him. Like Aurelia, Yasuo, oh, I can play Yasuo. I mean, Aurelia, it's a bit different, but you can kind of move over to it. Champions like, Syndra, Ori, Cassio, I can kind of play him, but Ekko, you need to have specific knowledge on that champion because wave clear on him is so specific knowledge in terms of when your Q will one-shot the back wave, when you can rotate, when you're putting that parallel convergence, because you actually need to play the game 4 seconds ahead, which is funny given he's a champion that rewinds time. You need to actually be playing the game 4 seconds ahead of what's going to happen. That's what you really need to do to be a good Ekko. And if you don't have practice on the champion, it's going to be really difficult to do that, and you're going to get found out, especially given lionroar is on one of his key champions, Arise, but he has not played the entire tournament.
And I feel as well as Mabøroshi, I'm not sure how well it'll fit into his playstyle if he's thinking, at the present, because he is someone who likes to fight. Like, I always get the feeling he's someone who plays for the moment. And this game is going to be very critical because while, yes, we've been focusing a lot on top lane matchup, bot lane matchup, something that's been kind of silently happening throughout the series is whoever wins the mid lane actually has been winning the game. Mabøroshi dominates games 1 and 2. Game 3, lionroar comes roaring on back with that Galio. And that's been sort of how the games have gone. Now, it hasn't really had that lasting effect on the map that we've taken too much notice for, but it is something to be paying attention to because these mid lanes have been very swingy one side or the other. There hasn't been like a tightly contested mid lane yet. Yeah,
I mean, that is true actually. It's one of those things where the mid laners haven't actually had an impact on the game per se, but whoever has winning that lane, and mid lane is so influential, that's why I like playing it so much. It's about controlling the entire base of the game, but is it the mid lane doing well that's enabling the map, or is it the map doing well that's enabling the mid laner in this case? Which is what it seems to be, but I mean, controlling that mid lane tempo means the jungle has more freedom to roam around, the support has room to roam around too, and that's what's, making these 80 carries play so well. The 80 carries as well have been that kind of whoever does better in the support role, but Doobie on these enchanters has not looked really good. When he was on that Morgana, he looked very, very solid, and Morgana is kind of the more aggressive enchanter support, if that makes sense. You know, like if you look at a class of supports that are enchanters, you know, you have the Yuumi, Lulu, Janna, you know, Karma, these kind of champions, and Morgana's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of one of those enchantery, girly kind of champions. But it still has those aggressive tones of a Thresh, of a Blitzcrank.
I love how Indooroopilly has gone for a 5-man invade 3 games in a row and have not found anyone. Yeah. Furthermore, I also love how MacGregor has not like planned around it once yet.
Yeah. The second game they did.
Kind of, only because they walked over
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to find anything this time around, so...
Championship prize, too. Oh, no, it's Faker Eyes. Lionroar coming in with Faker Eyes, ready to take down the enemy team. That's a big boots to fill.
I mean, this is the time to pull it off. Should be worth noting as well, an Infernal Drake, the first dragon. And I imagine each of these teams are going to want that quite heavily. Now, teleports, again, taken from both top laners. I'll be curious to see if one of them is forced to burn it early. And going for the invade buff, once again, Pop the Smoke going to try buff YeDieJiuWo. Let's see if he reads it out or if he actually goes top lane, because right now, very critical that this Kindred goes for the horizontal jungling, but it doesn't look to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, the Kindred here, no idea of the invade coming out of Pop the Smoke on this Nunu, who is one of the counter jungle gods.
No, he did suss it out. Did suss it out, and I think it was...
I think it's because he was late to lane. He was late to lane, so therefore was able to suss it out, but... I mean, this means the map will be traded vertically, and I think, honestly, the bot lane is a lane you want to be influencing. I mean, Nunu, again, this champion, it's a big question mark about this in the draft. Yeah. I think there are a lot of other junglers that were available. I think Nocturne was the premier pick. I mean, doesn't have that same early game tempo, and when Indra have done well, they've had an early game jungle. The Fiddlesticks was very aggressive, Jarvan again very aggressive. I kind of wish he put out something like a Rek'Sai, or an Olaf, or Elysian, I think. Although they're quite mechanically difficult, it really fits his play style. And obviously, if you can't play the champion, you can't play it in a crucial game. And I think it's really going to be key to see how well the jungle performs. The jungle has been quite an influential role. I think Pop the Smoke has kind of decided all the games, whether that be through his faults or his excellency. So,
that's an excellency right there. Doobie 10 standing, no chance. Sniped through the minions by the Last Dance. And all right, I think you got to get this guy off those hook champions.
That's the third first blood in the bot lane in a row for Last Dance. Got the first blood last game on the Blitzcrank in that Thresh game as well. Was able to get the first blood down in the bot side. Actually, no, I think the first blood was Mabøroshi, but was very quickly followed up by a kill in the bot lane. Hook champions are his forte, especially in this early game. And Lulu straight away down again. Not very good, and that just makes chadyou's job up here in the top stage so much easier. You know, when you know your bot lane is ahead of me. That last game, it was a little bit like, took a while for Ipswich to get a couple kills.
Snowball, here it comes, kabam, right into VayZhao, who actually is going to struggle to get out. This one will be rooted temporarily in place. chadyou trying to secure that kill. It's flash for flash, and chadyou does get it in his lap. So Indooroopilly, 2 quick kills in this one, although Last Dance could be in a bit of trouble. Is polymorph, has a lot of damage going his way. You also have YeDieJiuWo making his way down bot as Mabøroshi starts to poke out this rise. YeDieJiuWo forcing the flash out of its sweets, and that's a critical ability gone.
Yeah, Last Dance a little bit low on HP, but a big mini-whip in their favor. YeDieJiuWo taking that vertical jungle, and I mean, that's really worrying for Indooroopilly, the fact that they've got a kill on the bot side, even though that is technically their weak side, right? Given the fact that the Kindred's down there, and on the top side, they're getting a kill there as well. Indooroopilly could look to even up this series, and it's a fantastic start for them so far. Every time they've gotten ahead in the early game, they've really tried to maintain that lead, and every time they got first blood, whichever team has got first blood has ended up winning. So both these sides, I think, do know how to snowball very well. MacGregor, we discussed it many times. They are the best team at punishing mistakes in the game. But I would say Indra are one of the best teams at kind of pushing their leads. I mean, they struggled with it a little bit last game.
Yeah.
But they were still able to get the soul early on, and I think that was kind of the thing that allowed them to get through it. They struggled a little bit with managing this Fiora, but now they've had a bit of experience. They could maybe come back at it and do it again. And I think, you know, we are kind of having a bit of debate in between these games whether it's kind of worth banning this Fiora away from VayZhao as well. But again, you don't know if he has another champion that he hasn't pulled out yet that he's equally as good on. And also getting the Morgana away from Doobie 10 when Last Dance has these hook champions kind of negates some of the effectiveness. Morgana, one of the biggest counters to Thresh and Blitzcrank and champions like that because they're able to block that hook coming through. Of course, the idea was go for the Sivir to stop it, but in this bot lane, there is nothing to kind of stop those hooks from coming through. So when they land and they will pull you back, and it's going to be very difficult to kind of answer that down in the bot lane. As you see, much better laning here from chadyou. Maybe having that one game where he was able to get the kill in lane makes it a lot better.
That said, though, as the skirmish is happening up top, take a look at YeDieJiuWo down below. Going to go ahead and secure that first Infernal Drake, kind of backdooring it. And something that MacGregor, I feel like, has constantly had the advantage over Indooroopilly has been sort of those early game objectives. And I still feel MacGregor is still the better team at playing the map, as they can see, just stealing that dragon right under the nose of Indooroopilly, who you would think would have kind of that play on it, considering, you know, they've gotten those first couple kills thus far, even got that reset already in, so the fight would be going in their favor. I digress. MacGregor still finding avenues to stay in this game, and that is something where I do have to question Indooroopilly. Yes, they are good at finishing the game when push comes to shove, but sometimes I feel like they don't accelerate it enough, and they don't really play with their small leads well enough. Once they have a big lead, they know how to end, but I'm not convinced that they can play with small advantages.
Yeah, and I think that's the key difference. They can't play with small advantage, but
that's a good rocket grab. Ignite already dropped an 80 carry, only is forced to flash. The polymorph actually does negate a lot of damage out of its sweets, but 2 critical summoner abilities gone from 80 carry only. Now, Flash has gone from both sides, but it will come up first for its sweets, and that could be a very scary situation.
And chadyou actually keeping up in CS a lot better than he was the first time. Level 6 is available for VayZhao, so has going to be a little bit more careful when he's going for these trades. But if he lands one more taunt, that could be it. A huge
snowball from behind. VayZhao might not be able to get out. No flash available. That's going to connect. No need for the follow through on the flash, as taunt, I should say, as Pop the Smoke secures that kill. And Indooroopilly, they're off to yet another hot start.
And the key difference between this game and every other game is, even though VayZhao is very far ahead in CS, that's 2 kills. He hasn't died twice in lane, and he has not got a lane kingdom happening up in this top side. Every other game, it's been massively in his favor up there in the top lane, and in the mid lane, Indra are winning all across the board. All 3 lanes right now are going very well, and the Nunu, actually influencing the map very well, actually works against the Fiora because they have multiple points of CC. You know, she could maybe riposte the snowball, but then she's definitely getting rooted up. She can maybe riposte the root, but then by that time there's too much damage coming down, too much CC, that the taunt's going to follow up and take her down anyway. So actually this Shen Nunu duo is kind of designed to negate the top side, and I think if Pop the Smoke continues to focus around this top lane, that's very smart. I think lionroar is going to naturally outscale Mabøroshi, and I think he's doing well in the 1v1. Down in this bot side, Last Dance is clearly outclassing and landing these hooks, and its sweeps will scale up too. So if they focus on double teaming VayZhao throughout the entire early game, means they will take a lot longer for her to get online, and they'll be able to stay in this 2v2 much, much longer. And if they continue to do this, Indooroopilly could maybe take what they did last game and extrapolate it even further and get further and further ahead and win it sooner, because VayZhao won't be as fast.
Oh, meanwhile, here comes the snowball. 80 carry only trying to get out of this. When the Featherstorm comes out, the snowball doesn't connect, but the rocket grab does onto Yuumi, forcing out an immediate flash. Still a lot of damage. The root onto its sweets actually doing a fair bit of work as well, but not enough for that kill. chadyou just barely missing on the taunt right there. Big gank. First failed gank really coming from Pop the Smoke.
But again, got the flash out, got out the ultimate from 80 carry only. The ignite is still available on Doobie 10, but it means next time a gank comes down the bot lane, or the next rocket grab that lands will be death for whoever it lands on. There is no more escape tools, no more get out of jail free cards available for the bot lane. For the meantime, in a minute, there will be some coming up, and of course, the wild growth is yet to be unlocked, as we see, VayZhao taking so much damage already. The Bramble best Tabai rush from chadyou. He knows what he's up against in this lane. He knows my job isn't to win lane, it's just to stop you from getting ahead. YeDieJiuWo is around here, but I think with the items, the attacks coming out of the Kindred aren't going to be very effective at all.
Yeah, Mabøroshi as well was having a look, not going to find anything. Pop the Smoke slowly making his way there, and this could turn into a fight in the jungle, as a matter of fact, as Mabøroshi is going to go in on lionroar, but you have the snowball banking around the corner. Mabøroshi wants no part of this, will back out. The one problem I have with Indooroopilly's gank down in the bot lane, though, was the timing of it. Because there was no dragon down there, they did give over Rift Herald essentially for free. Like, they traded Rift Herald for a support flash, and I don't know. To me, that's just not entirely worth it.
I think the one thing you can compliment YeDieJiuWo on is his ability to consistently maintain objective pressure. Even though he's not supposed to be on the Kindred, the more active jungler, he has been able to continuously maintain control of these initial objectives. He has gotten the first dragon here in this game, was able to secure a dragon last game, even though he was massively behind. The bot lane's winning super hard, and that means there should be no avenue to get these dragons. And I think delaying the soul is really crucial for MacGregor, because they need the Fiora to be able to draw pressure away, because in a 5v5, they don't contest the mutual objectives. The one other thing, I think lionroar going for the Rod of Ages build means he's going to take a lot longer to get online. So, you know, if MacGregor can really start getting some kills back, it could be quite crucial. But I think Indooroopilly want to stay in this farming game state. As long as Indooroopilly don't die, I think they win. You know what I mean? Like, it's as dumb as that sounds, but I mean, if they don't get any more kills and no one else dies, Indra will eventually continually outscale because of the rise factor.
All right, well, there we go. Okay, get away from the abyss down below that bot lane briefly. I mean, if you don't die, you don't get thrown down into that abyss hole. Yeah, odds are you probably are going to win this game. As I'm not sure chadyou is following that advice. Neither is Pop the Smoke, as he's going to go down. YeDieJiuWo picking up a crucial kill, but they're not able to turn into a dragon right away. In fact, Indooroopilly, even without the jungler, are still going to go for this. No smite immediately available for YeDieJiuWo, but it will be back. You can see so many blue pings. Like, hold on. Are we really going to lose this? Especially with top lane going our way. chadyou in a fair bit of trouble will go down. Tower unable to return the kill right there. Dragon was stopped. No, it was taken back by blue team, but the rocket grab is going to collect on the Doobie 10, so they do get a kill in return for it. Flash used to escape from the last dance, but here comes Mabøroshi jumping right onto the last dance, who will not be able to escape it. MacGregor are back in this game.
A bit of caster curse there, saying all they have to do is just relax, keep farming, not die, and they instantly go for some aggressive fights, and this is really going to turn the tide of this bot lane. The kill onto last dance. I mean, it's still low. Still got the double tick axe down here in the bot lane, and lionroar is down here as well with the Nunu. So maybe
here we go. We could see something here, as lionroar is actually going very deep after this. He could get turned around on AD carry only, though. Getting poked. Oh, that could have been a lot of damage. That could have set up for the kill. The flash EWQ could have been the end there for AD carry only, but does survive. lionroar looking very, very strong. Very good CS here, actually, on the rise. But I mean, Fiora, again, 103 CS, even though dying twice in lane. VayZhao just showing he is the minion PvE master, I think, overall. And it is actually just kind of emphasizing how important it is to be good at CSing. Oh, that's a fantastic route into the snowball, into yet another route. Mabøroshi trying to escape, actually connects on the parallel convergence, and that gets him out alive.
That was really weird to watch, because it was there. They knew it was there, and lionroar kind of walked into it. If he kind of just sat out of the way, didn't let himself get stunned up there, Mabøroshi would have gone down for sure, or maybe would have had to pop that ultimate, but I don't think would have gotten out of it. VayZhao, though, is now starting to get really strong. The Ravenous Hydra completed already. Despite the fact he's 1 and 2, he's already got Ravenous Hydra, a 3,000 gold total item at, 12 minutes into the game is a massive lead, and already looking to proxy under tower.
Yeah, but we'll get taunted in, take a couple tower hits. As a result, needs to be very cautious right here. You can't parry tower shots, as chadyou gets one back.
Yeah, VayZhao again, overconfident, and this is the worst game I've seen him play so far. He's still massively ahead though, which is kind of just emphasizing how good of a player he has been throughout this series. Mabøroshi getting chunked out in the mid lane heavily. And I mean, once this roller gets completed on the side of the Xayah, he's going to be quite scary. I mean, it might not actually be a roller now, the fact that the amplifying tome is in his inventory, because it's really important to get that Rod of Ages completed before the 15-minute mark on the rise.
Void Seeker and Rocket Grab each whiffing horribly in this assist down in the bot lane. That's A-okay. Teleport actually being used by VayZhao to go top. Pretty safe time to use it, as no dragon's going to be up for another 2.5 minutes, so still kind of have to be a little cautious of that, but with the next real neutral objective being that second Rift Herald, you'd rather have VayZhao sitting up top. This has been a very interesting game thus far. I think this has actually been probably the closest game. I
mean, game 2 was pretty close to in the early game, but I think this is more closer in terms of no team looks like, you know, in game 2 there was kind of a clock, and Mabøroshi was hard winning that mid lane. But I think this game is where everyone has actually been influential, and it's looking very close. This
could be very interesting. Mabøroshi debating whether or not he wants to go in. Meanwhile, fight happening down below as well. AD carry only going so deep after his sweep, able to get a critical shutdown. Meanwhile, Lambs, despite trying to keep YeDieJiuWo alive, is able to just escape. Meanwhile, AD carry only will eventually get down the last dance. First turret does go down. lionroar, no! Too many tower shots actually falls. And Indooroopilly, for the second time this game, pick fights that they don't need to and pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, and Indooroopilly were looking so good in this early game. We thought, man, this is almost their way to go. They're winning ahead, and they're doing so well on the top side, but the rest of the map is failing. lionroar going down at 1v1 has picked up the rower, which is something, I mean, Indooroopilly definitely win late game. I think late game, I still think they win, even though the Fiora split push is going to be quite strong. Mabøroshi, though, mid game is going to be the man on this Ekko, and I think AD carry only looks exceptional on the Xayah. He played it in game 1, and that's the game they hard stomped. He hasn't played it since, and it hasn't been banned against him, but now back on this pick, he looks very comfortable, and it looks like by far his best champion. I think Sweets has been a little bit overconfident in this bot lane, and AD carry only has kind of come back into it with the Xayah. And again, I think this is very smart from MacGregor, and it's going to be a very difficult matchup, and I can't believe they lost that mid lane 2v2. It looked like it was going so heavily in favor of Indooroopilly, and the more and more damage Ryze gets, the more and more those matchups aren't going to go that way. And as much as it looks like Mabøroshi is very ahead in this lane, I think lionroar is very scary, and his Ryze looks very, very good so far, and he is going to be a big threat the later this game goes.
What's interesting to me as well with this game, and I'm getting a lot of similar vibes actually from the first game though, where like in the second game to a lesser extent, where Indooroopilly, they're picking this later game scaling composition, but they're not playing around it as effectively as they could be. This is a team that likes to fight almost as much as MacGregor does. MacGregor likes to fight in lines. I think Indooroopilly likes to try and force team fights, but they're not really picking around that for early game team fights. It's a bit disheartening, I feel like, to see it this late in the season. I would think by this stage, I would hope that you kind of are able to identify your sort of team identity and you can ban around it. But this game 4, they haven't been able to do that, and they've been getting punished for it, it seems. Now, not as bad as before. Realm Warp actually coming through as lionroar wants to join it. That's a big grab right there onto YeDieJiuWo, and that's going to force Kindred out of the fight. The Total Convergence gets a critical stun on the Sweets, but the damage won't be able to fall through. That said, Pop the Smoke is going to be one who falls, and on the backside, they're able to find lionroar as well. MacGregor are winning this fight, and it's another early skirmish that Indooroopilly wants no part of. That's an ace, and that is the 3rd dragon in under 20 minutes going MacGregor's way.
And this is looking like a lot like game 1 again for MacGregor. That was a huge mistake from Indooroopilly. The Rift held second one of the game for YeDieJiuWo being dropped again. And honestly, I kind of haven't thought about it this entire series, but the fact that MacGregor have constantly had control over these neutral objectives has made this game so much towards YeDieJiuWo. As much as he didn't play well on the Ekko, I think, I mean, he didn't play well, he just didn't play great.
This Kindred's another story. This Kindred has been absolutely phenomenal.
He looks a lot more comfortable, and again, why hasn't he picked it the entire series?
I mean, yeah, I guess Mabøroshi just didn't want to play Ekko, but they still valued this Ekko so much for their team compositions and how they want to fight these skirmishes for sure. I mean, but even Mabøroshi has looked better on this Ekko, I feel like, than YeDieJiuWo did.
Yeah, I think he has, and Indooroopilly look a lot better. Honestly, I think this has been one of their best early games in terms of the first 12 minutes of the game, but the last 4, the kind of transition into the mid game is where their comp is the weakest, and I don't think they've recognized that weakness in their comp, but maybe they could try to get something up in the top side. But that fight was so crucial to lionroar getting taken out by VayZhao, couldn't kite away from him as effectively, and having that Ryze not in that team fight I think was the biggest difference. I think Sweets isn't far enough ahead, and AD carry only here on this Xayah is really, really strong, and I think honestly this is kind of MacGregor going towards that. Once again, we're picking the champions we want to play. They don't really synergize together all too well, but I mean, with 3 dragons already, Soul's pretty much guaranteed to go to MacGregor when it's 3-0, and I think they're going to have enough control over the next one, and then when they get this Ocean Soul, they've got a lot of impactful ultimates. The Wild Growth, the...
So Cloud Soul.
Cloud Soul, sorry, yeah, sorry. Obviously, Cloud Soul gives 10% ultimate reduction, but the Featherstorm, the Wild Growth, the Chrono Shift, Chrono Break, the Lamb's Respite are such big, crucial abilities that they're going to have on a much lower cooldown, and the ultimates are going to change these fights around.
I absolutely agree right now. This is, once again, kind of become MacGregor's game to lose. Indooroopilly, they can still get back into this, but like,
I mean, the Ryze is where you're looking towards, right?
Absolutely, you're looking towards the Ryze, absolutely, and trying to enable that. But something that's been actually a bit more silent in this game has been this VayZhao, and perhaps we're not giving it enough credit. It had a rough start, but has found 3 kills since then. It's 50 CS up over chadyou as well, so that split push is looking more and more likely. Only one more component away from that Trinity Force, and then all of a sudden, you've got that added element as well coming from this MacGregor side. And with Indooroopilly behind, looking to scale, I don't know if they can handle yet another strong split push presence coming from MacGregor.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they can handle that ability yet on chadyou. I think, he hasn't even got his teammate yet, which allows him with so much wave clear. I mean, he's obviously just gone for the defensive, I need to not die, which is very true, right? He needs to play ahead, and I think that's why he's done a lot better in lane this game versus any other. But YeDieJiuWo on this Kindred looks so much more comfortable, and I think is by far his best champion. I think lionroar on this rise is the member to look towards. I mean, itsweets is going to get good too. I think his problem is he's a little bit over-aggressive, and when he's not too far ahead, he's not being able to punish, and I think the battle of the AD carries now is a lot more even. I think AD carry only on the Xayah is definitely very, very good. And I think itsweets, Vayne / Kai'Sa is on the same level, and so I think AD carry-wise, you look at toe-to-toe right now, they're pretty evenly matched. The Xayah is a little bit further ahead, but Kai'Sa does better with more items, and Kai'Sa wins in the late game. I mean, Xayah versus Kai'Sa was the story of Season 9.
Yeah.
Every single in the whole year, it was only these two champions that were played. So, I mean, evidently, it's what's occurring right now, right here. But again, I think the rise is going to be very crucial, and of course, VayZhao on this Fiora is the man to deal with. But 2 men on her now.
Yeah, let's see what VayZhao can do in a 2v1. lionroar should be able to hold them off, but that doesn't seem to be the case. The Sett that presence, trying to stand united coming through, but it's too little, too late. As down goes lionroar. With all of this pressure down below, that does mean MacGregor is going to go started on that Baron as well. And you can see Akali getting shredded just as Mabøroshi goes looking for itsweets, trying to chase down this Kai'Sa. Will be able to find it, goes ahead and uses the chrono break to escape. Meanwhile, chadyou trying to stop VayZhao from taking towers, but that is going to become an even stronger Fiora if the Baron does go down. Pop the smoke in the pit, steals it away, a critical steal from Indooroopilly, but is it going to be enough? Because VayZhao is going so deep, chasing him all the way to the fountain, but those are big Baron empowered minions doing damage back, and the shutdown goes to chadyou. The last dance also on the run, YeDieJiuWo as well as Mabøroshi on the chase. Eventually they will back off. MacGregor, they got that Baron, but they didn't because Indooroopilly stole it away.
I mean, yeah, they've still got 2 members with the Baron. chadyou's got it in the side lane, but I think this is honestly looking real bad for Indooroopilly. We thought, maybe they could pull it back, maybe pull off the reverse sweep. They looked really, really good in Game 3, but Game 4 is all MacGregor's. Soul is going to go in their favor, despite they lost that Baron Nashor. And it is going to be a big road back for Indooroopilly. I mean, we've had bigger comebacks before. We definitely have, but MacGregor looked good. They look like they've gone, right, we've had enough mucking around. We're trying to win this game. That last game was a slog, and we were not down for that again. We're not letting you get more kills than us. Blue side looks to be the side that they want to play, and man, Indooroopilly look really, really far behind.
They do. That Baron is going to be their saving grace for right now. Maybe they can hold things off because they didn't have their base cracked open. VayZhao was so blood hungry right there. Kind of gave away a pretty significant advantage. Fortunately for the MacGregor side, though, is there's not really a big objective just yet. They did just secure that soul, so that is going to be huge for them. Kind of counteract that Baron, I feel like, in the long term.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Indooroopilly can do enough with this Baron except for buy time. It's a rough situation. It's still a rough situation for Indooroopilly. It's going to be a tough fight back in this one for sure. They give up that Elder Dragon. I think that could be championship done and dusted. So we're going to need to see that miracle team fight come from them, or perhaps another miracle steal. We've seen 2 crazy steals already today. And you know what they say, 3 times the charm. Well, that could be the charm to get Indooroopilly really back in this game, but that still just seems ages away right now. I mean, MacGregor, they're going to be content to just keep farming up, get ready to reset before that critical Elder Dragon fight. And they're going to be so far ahead in these items. They're going to be so far ahead in tempo and map presence. Indooroopilly, it's going to be another miracle on top of that Baron steal.
But the thing is, this game is the story of the Soul. An early Soul is going to make such a difference because Indra can still win team fights, and even with the Soul, I still think they have the strongest team fight comp with this lionroar, but VayZhao has been jumping on top of the rise and shutting him down. Lionroar has been unable to impact any fights, and in that 1v1 versus the Fiora looks miles better. I think if they can separate Fiora away from the fights, Lionroar is going to have a chance. Yeah. But the second Fiora gets involved, Rise can't do it, and I think Indooroopilly, sure they're going to stall, but I think they need to win 3 or 4 fights. No? Really, they need to win 3 or 4 team fights to get back into it, and I can't see them being strong enough to take them all. There's definitely a chance to see chadyou here beating VayZhao because of the amount of armor he has and those Baron buffs keeping him alive, and that was kind of the story of last game. If Indooroopilly got that Baron, chadyou wins that side lane, and it's only temporary. It's very temporary while that Baron's up, and Indro coming back. Ooh,
that's a big grab. Doobie 10 stands no chance to get out of that one, and a pretty critical pick right there. He could lead to more Featherstorm coming out, but AD Carry on his own, essentially flash for flash as Insweets really wants to take him down. Is able to secure a teleport coming through as well to help shut down Mabøroshi, who is forced to go golden, but is not getting out of this one. Pop goes to the Nunu. It's actually not enough damage, but on the back end, it should be worth noted, YeDieJiuWo did find Insweets as he went way too deep chasing after that kill. So it is a 1-for-3. Small advantage for Indooroopilly, but nothing crazy yet.
Yeah, I mean, and the Seraphs is almost now going to be completed on lionroar. I think going for the roar build wasn't right this game. I think given the fact that you know the enemy team's going to spike in the mid game and you're going to outscale late regardless, the extra scaling gifted by the roar probably isn't worth it. I think the Zhonya's would have been much more beneficial on lionroar. I think going pretty much Seraphs into Zhonya's was the build this game for him. Hasn't gone for that. Instead has gone for this Strider. The Fiora is chasing him down.
Yeah, this could be a very scary situation. Does have some help coming from Pop the Smoke, but that's not going to be enough to save him as, unfortunately, the Raptors kind of leave that avenue for VayZhao to chase him down. But the Rocket Grab might just catch VayZhao out. He will go down, so it's a 1-for-1 mid laner for top laner. And that is a big pickup.
lionroar needs to realize they need to have anti-healing. The Fiora is so strong because she gets a Conqueror proc, she has that Ravenous Hydra, and she's healing up time and time again. She's going to go for a Death Stance too. Get some anti-healing, Grievous Wounds. I think if they get Grievous Wounds, I mean, I'm seeing these fights and Indooroopilly looking good. It's a 4,000 gold lead, and the enemy team has Soul. Yeah. And they are still winning these fights. They are looking better in the team fights. If they just build the right items, 800 gold on this Kai'Sa. I mean, Morelos is a big build for the Rise, but he needs it. He didn't build on the Galio last game, and that was why that game took so long to finish. They could lose this championship because they're not building this anti-healing, because the second I think they have Grievous Wounds on their 2 carries, that eliminates the Lulu, eliminates the ultimate from the Fiora and the Kindred, and VayZhao becomes so much weaker if you're not having that extra health pool. Lifesteal is that kind of secret stat where you go, oh, the champion's only got 2,000 health, but when you're healing back 3,000, you've got a total 5,000 health pool right there, and it's so deceiving. And you can just cut it down. One item will reduce that health pool from 5,000 to 2,500, which is such a big difference when it comes to the amount of damage you got to pump into these champions.
Well, we might be about to witness a crazy game of chicken with a not properly itemized Indooroopilly.
Just get Morelos, please. That's all you need last game on the Galio, and again on this Rise, who has such a good ability to spread it throughout the entire team. He's just not going for it.
Well, this game of chicken's going to start regardless of items or not, because both the Baron and the Elder Dragon are going to spawn within a minute of each other. And it's time for these teams to really pick and choose. I mean, nerves are going to come into play right here, because if Indooroopilly does make that wrong choice, they lose this championship. MacGregor, they're content to be the proactive side, and they're leaning towards the Baron right now. Indooroopilly might be stepping forward to contest in this instance. No one playing side lanes, as really that surprised me, because Indooroopilly has, both the Stand United as well as the teleport available, yet chadyou is already hanging around with the team.
Well, I think the reason for that is, one, VayZhao needs to be here because lionroar is going to be way too strong if he's not there to shut him down. And I think chadyou needs to be here because if there's no Grievous Wounds applied to the Fiora, she's going to destroy them, and that taunt makes sure the Fiora is going to attack them. But instantly onto Baron, they don't have the
this is going to go fast.
And Nunu has really, really good healing here, so Nunu has to get into this pit really fast.
Yeah, they've got the vision on the Baron now. Unfortunately, we just can't quite see its health, which is a little disconcerting, but that's
They don't have a fast Baron, though. I know MacGregor don't have a fast Baron because Xayah and Kindred, although they're both Eddie carries, don't have that same speed that the Kai'Sa has. I think Indooroopilly definitely have the faster Baron with Machine Gun Rise plus the Kai'Sa. However, you really need to be careful as we're 30 minutes into this game, and it looked like MacGregor want to blow it out, but Indooroopilly have clawed it back from 16-4 to now 16-10, and we thought it was going to be done and dusted. We thought we were going to do it, but Indooroopilly still hanging in there, still fighting back. This is quite a series, and whoever wins this series is quite the one. Oh, they're just going for the push.
They're just going for the Elder. Get the Elder. You got to go Elder right now, but no, instead they're actually going to look for the fight because they think they have MacGregor caught out, but it's going to come at the cost of the tower, and this is going to be a very interesting situation. MacGregor wins this fight. They could win the game, but do they even want to take it? The answer is yes. Pop the Smoke is going to be the target. He's knocked out. He's already gone. MacGregor just too strong at this stage as Indooroopilly is scattering. MacGregor, they see the championship in their eyes. A double kill for Mabøroshi as the last stands, and Insweets are the two left standing. Insweets, he is long gone out of that that fight. Not much Last Dance can do. Everyone healthy on MacGregor, and the decision to fight may have cost Indooroopilly everything. MacGregor, 5-membered standing tall. The team that was expected to go the distance has done just that. Your Queensland University high school champions are not crowned yet because InSweets is still trying to fight back. They get one, but can they get another? VayZhao doing what he can. Down goes InSweets, down goes the Last Dance, and we are done. MacGregor are your champions.
What a series of team these two sides. 3-1 is so indicative of this series. That was so incredibly close. I mean, MacGregor were going to blow it out 20 minutes into the game, but came back into it. Indooroopilly did, and they fought to the death. But MacGregor, that final series, they went for the death breath around the objective. It's so similar to MSI finals last year, or not last year, 2 years ago when Fnatic had RNG down to a final game. They went for a death brush, and RNG went, we're going for the Nexus. And instead of going for the objective, they backed and they fought and they lost. What a game between these two series, and that is well and truly a championship series, I think.
That was absolutely phenomenal, and I mean, I was talking about, I was like, okay, you have two options, Elder Dragon, Baron. Choose right, you win everything. Choose wrong, you know, you could throw this game forward, but instead they're like, you know what? We're going to choose option C. Let's just go run it down mid.
I mean, I think the decision there was send Kaiser Nunu to the Dragon. Yeah. You burst that Dragon down before they get through that tower back. Straight away. I mean, you might lose a Nexus tower, but that Elder Dragon means that Baron is definitely yours. And because if they don't have a fast enough Baron there, I think that game could have been so much longer. But I mean, MacGregor take that series, and I think they deserved it too. I mean, I do really wish that first game didn't count because that is just all the other games have been so close, and it's such a shame that nerves played a big part in it. Having mentally prepared for this series is such a big thing, especially in sports. I think medal is such a big thing, but in esports it's such a big thing too. I think honestly the difference in this series was at game one.
It was.
I think if game two was game one, I mean we'd be 2-1 MacGregor right now, but we'd be well and truly tossing and turning, and it would definitely go to 5. I think this next game Indooroopilly win because I think blue side once that first game was complete wash.
It was.
And I think, blue side was winning every game so far from there. And I think we would have just gone 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and whoever would have ended up winning did. And I mean, what a series for MacGregor. Well and truly deserved of the Queensland High School League and Championship. Both these sides, whoever won, would have well and truly deserved to represent Queensland at the national championships.
Absolutely.
And they both looked phenomenal. And I mean, we have to say definitely MVP's VayZhao. I mean, it just has to be.
Yeah, VayZhao is going to get... Yes, I do agree VayZhao gets MVP, but I want to throw an honorable mention to Mabøroshi. I think he low-key had a lot of amazing games in this one, and when they won, he looked nigh unstoppable.
I mean, honestly, honorable mention to every single player involved. I think every single player today had a moment where they were like all these 10 players played very well today. There were moments where they did bad. Last Dance and Pop the Smoke didn't have the best game one. Lionroar had moments on his Syndra where he wasn't that great, but throughout this entire series, they've all had big moments. AD Carry only got a pentakill. InSweets was dominating on his Kaiser last game. Lionroar looked really good on the rise today, and the Galio in that last game was a main story. Everyone played such a crucial role in this series, and it was so well fought between these 10 players. And honestly, I think a combination of any of these 10 players could all be on a championship team, and it could have gone either way today. But today it has gone to MacGregor. They are your Queensland High School League of Legends Championships. A fantastic win for them.
Absolutely. And now I'm going to put the rest of Australia on notice because we finished our championship first, right? That means we're the best.
I mean, we are.
MacGregor is now representing Queensland. So the best state. We got the best team. All those other states, they still need to sort out who's going to be representing what right now. So MacGregor will be representing us moving forward to that national level. And I want to see this team step up. I believe they can. So Sydney, or New South Wales, I should say, Victoria, heck, even New Zealand. I hope you're ready for what MacGregor is bringing because, this is just the start for Queensland.
I mean, and especially for Indra, who unfortunately loses today. We have still got another tournament coming up next term for all you guys at school. So if you're a school that isn't involved in high school esports in Queensland and want to get involved, please get in touch with us over here at UQ Esports and we can get you involved for the next series. I mean, it will be kicking off, I don't know sure about the time, but in the next month. I think we have a month or so break after this, and we will be getting involved in next tournament, and we'll have another similar tournament to this because it was so good. And I think there were so many different storylines that could have happened. I mean, Hillbrook Hellcats finished so strong. They came out of nowhere and they came third in the state. Obviously, they lost to Indra, who, I mean, Indra and MacGregor looked incredible. They both looked really, really good. Obviously, MacGregor looked better, but they both looked really, really good. And I think, Hillbrook could have definitely, I would have loved to see them versus MacGregor. Of course, the Mansfield Minotaurs, who got knocked out in the quarterfinals, They were
Yeah.
looking so strong. They were the best team in the regular season. The Swiss bracket, they were number 1. They were the best, and they were the only team that beat MacGregor.
And they're a team I think to watch out for moving forward for sure when we do come back next semester. But until then, it is time to say good night, unfortunately, for Season 2 of our Queensland High School League of Legends Champion Series. It has been an absolute treat. One last thank you to Legion by Lenovo. Thank you to the University of Queensland. Thank you to all of the schools participating, and we hope to see you next season around. I have been Formal, joined by Replays in the beautiful blue suit. And until next time, have a great day, everyone.
Good night.
I'm taking this trophy.